Just about underway. This is a color combination you don't see a lot of in Morgantown, with the white pants and the gold tops. And there's a lot of old gold and blue in the stadium and a little corner of green and white. We are underway in Morgantown, Mountaineer Field. It will be fielded at the 4. Austin gets away from a tackler at the 20, falls forward to about the 28-yard line. The freshman with a nice return, and that's where they will set up. Defensively on the kick team, it was Carpenter making the tackle. Here come the Mountaineers on offense. Jared Brown, a fifth-year senior, played behind Pat White, waited for a long time, had a few starts, but this year he is the man. He's in charge. Jock Sanders is in there. They'll have 2 wide receivers split right side. Empty backfield, and now the motion man. Fake the inside handoff. Brown rolls, looks, throws, and the catch is made out at the 46-yard line, and that is Wes Lyons. He's another slot back, and he's a big, big prospect right there.
Well, you mentioned big. He is 6'8" big. And that turned out to be Jared Brown here with a little play action to the left. Has lots of room. Had really a choice to run or throw. And look at that target he's got to throw to. A little bit off, but Wes Lyons able to make the great catch. And
it'll be Jock Sanders to the near side, and this is a 5-receiver formation right now. Tavon Austin is also out there. That's Austin in motion. It's the first down for the Mountaineers, their second offensive play. He loves to pump fake. Does Brown. He goes deep and overthrows everybody. So that is incomplete. It'll be second down and 10. Intended for Starks. Jock Sanders, Jared Brown, Chris Neal. Those are the impact players. Neal is the defensive nose guard. Brown, when he goes well, so do the Mountaineers, and Jock Sanders has just done a terrific job.
And you look at Jared Brown, really the key to their offense and how well he can make with the decision-making with the football. He has so many weapons to get him to. All he has to do is just get it in the right hands.
Devine is out there. And again, they move players around. They've got a lot of options with all the people that they have. The motion man that time was Sanders. Inside handoff, and not much to the middle before midfield is Noel Devine. Harvey leads the defense on that play.
And you can see here the inside handoff to Noel Devine. Marshall's defensive front doing a good job of stopping that run. It's interesting to watch this West Virginia offense come out. They usually script their first 10 or 15 plays just to get a feel for what Marshall's doing on defense.
It is second down coming up in about 8. Near midfield, first possession of the afternoon in the 4th annual Friends of Coal Bowl. Out of the shotgun, Jared Brown, who's done more passing. Mountaineers averaging 100 yards a game more through the air than last year. But Brown can do this very well. He's got a first down inside the 40, down to about the 37-yard line. Did he lose the football? And he did. That has been the real problem, Danny, for the Mountaineers, is hanging on to the ball.
You're right, John. It's plagued them all season long, and you can't really blame him. You see Jared Brown down on the ground. He got a pretty good lick there on that shot. But a lot of time what Marshall's defense noticed was when they try to pick up those extra yards, a lot of times the ball comes out because they're trying to, there just gets loose there. You see Jared Brown, he fakes out one guy, he sees the first down marker trying to make a run for it. Now you just got to get down. You got to protect yourself, especially at the quarterback position. Those defenders love taking their shots at you.
That ball popped loose. Good hit that time by Ashton Hall, who might be the best athlete on that defensive team. There he is sticking his head in to knock the ball loose. And the quarterback, Jared Brown, is down right now. We'll check his condition when we come back to Morgantown. It's early, no score. Welcome back to the 2009 Friends of Coal Bowl, and they are talking to Jarrett Brown. That would be really bad news. They do have an outstanding freshman, but let's take a look at what happened. He is really sandwiched on this play.
Well, he gets rocked by between 2 Marshall defenders. Ashton Hall and Brandon Burns both collided with him. Almost immediate impact right there between the 2 guys. Jarrett Brown gets banged up pretty good there. Hopefully he'll be all right.
Concern, of course, for Coach Bill Stewart and, of course, the 60,000 fans who are on hand as always. Turn it over, and it's the 16th turnover. That matches last year's total for West Virginia already. Anderson is the quarterback. He'll have 1 setback. That's Darius Marshall, number 5, and he'll get the first touch. And he'll lean forward for about 3 yards on the play. Close to the 39-yard. Was Reed Williams, number 47. Williams playing some extra protection on his shoe because he's got a problem with turf toe. And he went out after the Marshall game last year with shoulder problems, had both shoulders operated on. But he's back for his 5th year, the senior. Gain of 3 on the first play. Out of the shotgun. Anderson feels a little bit of pressure, but he gets the pass off, and it is complete. Making the catch is Cody Slate. And there is Anderson, certainly one of the impact players. Brian Anderson, Cody Slate. He'll be all over the field. He'll be in the Wildcat formation. He'll be a wide receiver. He'll be a tight end. Ashton Hall, we already saw some of him on defense for Marshall. Big offensive front for the Thundering Herd. There's that Wildcat formation. Moving forward that time is Marshall. He didn't get very much. He'll pick up a couple of yards on the play.
And you can see already, John, the cat and mouse game that's going on here between this offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator for West Virginia. Marshall's doing a great job so far mixing up formations. They're spreading out 4 wide. They're running a little wildcat and just keeping West Virginia off balance right now.
Walker and Wilson, the wide receivers, split to the right side of the formation. Marshall, the lone setback, as Anderson drops back into a shotgun formation on 2nd and 7. Lost the ball, scrambling to get it back, and he will. That's got to be a terrible feeling for a quarterback, Danny. I don't know if you've ever been through it or not.
Oh, I've been there several times, and that is no fun. And you got to wonder if the weather comes into play there. The ball was right there for him, hit him right in the hands. You just got to make sure he catches the ball there. West Virginia was bringing some pressure. A lot of times when quarterbacks see pressure out of the shotgun, they do tend to take their eyes off of the ball coming up to them because they want to see where the pressure is coming from. And I think that's might have what happened to Brian Anderson right there.
Well, the rain has increased. Marshall on 3rd down. They're 6th in their conference in 3rd down conversions, and this is a long one. 3rd and 19. Anderson out of the gun. Has time, steps up a little bit and fires right down the middle. Pass is deflected and broken up. Williams was there to knock it in the air. Robert Sands was also there, and you saw the linebacker Reed Williams really got downfield, didn't he?
Reed Williams was moving. I mean, that's a tough spot to be in when you have to cover a guy 30 yards downfield and you're a linebacker going against a pretty fast tight end. But he did a great job on that one. It looked like his turf toe. It looks like whatever brace he's wearing on his foot is working pretty well.
Hogan will be deep. The punting handled by Whitehead. An average of almost 39 per punt. Jock Sanders back as well. He's one of the top return men in the conference, and he's going to have sidesteps a tackler and then from behind is dragged down at the 20-yard line. And that was an excellent tackle that time. The man that helped create the fumble, Ashton Hall, plays on the special teams for the Herd. 4-2 record so far for Marshall, 2-1 in conference play. Mountaineers are 4-1, 1-0 in the Big East with that win last week over Syracuse. We talked to both coaches about stepping out of conference play kind of late in the year.
Yeah, you know, both of them, I think they would have preferred to play the game earlier just because they're right in the middle of their conference schedule. And especially Marshall, you know, getting back on track with a win against Tulane last week. I think both teams would prefer to have this one early in the season. I like it better in the middle.
Personal foul, face mask on the return team at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 15 yards from the previous spot, first down.
So that's a costly penalty after the 45-yard punt and a short return. Still 10:52 to play. We're just underway.
And so far, you know, Coach Stewart, he's very frustrated. I mean, these are the types of things that are driving him nuts as the head coach. He talked all season how they've had little issues that have just plagued them. You know, first it was interceptions, then it was fumbles. Today it's penalties and another fumble by Jared Brown. So these types of things are going to allow Marshall to hang around.
Well, let's see if Jared Brown comes out for this play. Check it. Marshall's got the football because of the face mask call, so it's Marshall ball. They'll have it in West Virginia territory at the 47-yard line. Lone setback is Darius Marshall. Missed the first game of the season for a violation of team rules. And keep your eye on number 85. Cody Slate is split to the right side. Here comes Marshall working that right side. Tries to get to the corner and steps out of bounds. He gets inside the 40 to the 38, and it was Slate who was leading the blocking.
And you can see a great job of those guys just kind of hooking their defenders, letting him get the corner, let him get the outside, use his speed to get the edge, because he is quite a fast back there. You got to make sure you contain him. Don't let him get that edge.
He got about 9 yards on that play. It'll be second down and a yard. Marshall moving the football, aided by a penalty on the punt. Walker and Wilson go to the left side. Anderson, who has been very strong for Marshall this year, sets, looks, throws, and a catch is made, and that is Darius Marshall, who will get the first down to about the 35-yard line. A lot of times, too, Dan, they will have both Slate and Smith. They're two tight end captains on the field at the same time.
Well, they really are the strength of this team. And right here, you see Brian Anderson do a good job just making a smart decision. He could look downfield to see if he had a chance for a bigger play. Wisely checked it down to Marshall and kept the chain moving. Right now, Marshall's got a little momentum working for him.
A pretty good job by Nate Sowers to keep that play in front of him, limit the yardage, but it is a first down. The sweep left side by Darius Marshall. And he's dragged down from behind near the 35-yard line. There's Reed Williams once again there defensively for West Virginia.
And you can really see the boys up front, the big guys, they pulled a couple guys up front, just trying to get the outside edge so they can get that edge for Marshall. That time they were unable to do it. Reed Williams looked like he saw that one coming from a while away and made the big stop.
Reed just kind of waited, bided his time, got a little seam there and went through to make the hit for no gain. Second down 10. Ball at the 35 of West Virginia. Marshall on the move early on. 9:22 to play in the opening quarter. Flag comes out. It's going to be offside against West Virginia. Anderson takes off with the football and dives for a first down near the 25-yard line. Taylor with the rush that time, but they were offside, I think, on the play. The flag went, and it was Josh Taylor playing for Scooter Berry, and Scooter
offside.
One of the
94 defense. Penalties decline.
penalties decline because they've got a first down out of that play, basically, I think.
And that's a great job by Brian Anderson. You know, when you talk about him to the coaching staff and ask him what type of quarterback he is, they say he's smart, he makes good decisions. But right there, you saw a little bit of his athleticism showing there in tucking the football down and picking up the first down there. So he does have enough athleticism to make plays out there, but he's not what you would picture as a guy who's running all around out there and making plays with his legs, but he has just enough to be able to move the chains. It
is third and short, and Anderson looks to the sidelines. Our referee, part of our crew tonight, Tom Tomczyk. Wilson split right side. Straight ahead running for a first down inside the 25 down to about the 24-yard line. Williams there to make the tackle. Good job once again by Darius Marshall.
And watch the little cutback right there to the left. You see 73, his left guard, Ryan Tillman, picking up a nice block, but good vision by Darius Marshall to see that little cutback lane to pick up the first down.
And it was 97, Julian Miller, who could not quite get there defensively. We're back to live action. That was going to be stopped for a short game by Robert Sands.
And you saw there, Marshall looks determined to run those wide sweeps, but that time Darius was able to cut it up inside. A lot of times that'll happen because the defense is trying to make you stretch it out, so they're trying to get outside contained. A lot of times that opens up that little cutback lane.
8:03 remaining here in the opening quarter. Anderson, a junior from Louisville, Kentucky. Works out of the shotgun formation. Motion man is Lee Smith, the other tight end. Anderson, pressure, gets it off. Near the goal line, deflected and incomplete. Tandy was there to deflect the pass.
And we just talked about what a good decision maker Brian Anderson is with the football. But I would tend to say this was probably not his smartest throw of the day. West Virginia went there with no free safety in the middle of the field, so he thought he had a chance at the corner route, but he did have pressure in his face, which might have forced him to throw that a little bit earlier than he wanted to, but he got away with one there that wasn't intercepted.
Sands was there with Tandy defensively. It's 3rd and 9. Mountaineers trying to put a stop on this drive for Marshall, a drive that has been aided by the face mask call on a punt against West Virginia. Here comes pressure from the outside, and the pass is complete. That should be good enough for a first down. It is Slate, Cody Slate, who makes the reception.
And that's a big first down for Marshall. I want you to watch number 5 right there coming to your screen. Darius Marshall. Everybody talks about him as a runner, but he did a great job of picking up the blitz so that Brian Anderson could deliver this pass to Cody Slate.
Right in front of Kent Richardson, number 17. And there's Slate. He lines up all over the place. Right now in the slot on the left side, Wilson comes near side, Walker far side. They're the wideouts in this formation. Anderson under center, hands to Marshall, and he is drilled right at the line of scrimmage. Hit by Julian Miller, number 97. Here's Miller, redshirt sophomore from Columbus, Ohio.
And you know, every time you watch West Virginia's defense, it's hard to tell what they're doing. They're kind of walking around because they're waiting to see how Marshall lines up. Marshall's done a great job of mixing up their formations and keeping West Virginia off balance. Every time you watch their players, they're having to make checks out there defensively.
2 wide receivers to the right side, and they got to keep an eye on number 85, that's for sure. Smith and Slate, the 2 tight ends, are both split left. Mountaineers show blitz. Here comes some pressure. Anderson gets it off. It is complete. Sidestepping the first tackle was Marshall, but not the second tackle as Keith Candy wrapped him up.
Well, West Virginia there brought too many guys where Marshall could not pick them up. You see from the right side of your screen right there, there's a free rusher right in Brian Anderson's face. He has to throw that football to Darius Marshall. Unfortunately, he can't pick it up. There you see Pat Lazier come right in his face, does just enough to mess up the timing where Marshall can't get it fast enough where he can make a guy miss.
It is 3rd down and 14. 3 wideouts split right, 2 split left on 3rd and long. 5:40 to play, opening quarter, no score. Each team has had the football once so far. Again, West Virginia appeared to be offside. The ball was thrown away. And it looked like Goulburn was the man who was offside. So Goulburn, and that's not going to make the head coach too happy. A couple of mistakes by West Virginia. I don't know if they're using a strange count or what the situation is.
And a lot of times there too.
Offside. 97 defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
You know, a lot of times too in that situation they're going to try to blitz because they want to bump them out of field goal range. They want to make the kick tougher. You wonder why are they blitzing on 3rd and 15, but that's why they were trying to get some pressure and get a sack so that the field goal becomes that much tougher.
So instead of 3rd and 14, it's 3rd and 9. 5.5 to play. We're just underway in the opening quarter. Edition number 4, the Friends of Cole Bowl. Wilson and Smith split left, but Anderson rolls right, pump fake, and gets away. He's got a lane to the end zone, racing for the corner, diving, and in. Boy, did he have room, huh?
What a great play. Once he got past that first wave of rushers, all of a sudden the floodgates opened.
There was nobody on that left side of the formation. West
Virginia has been bringing blitzers all day. You can see a couple yellow jerseys come right around him. One's flying in the air, but as soon as he tucked it and ran, he saw that corner of the end zone and ran for it. And what a great play by Brian Anderson, being aware that when there is a blitz, once you get past that first wave of rushers, and he saw some green grass, he was able to tuck it and make the big play.
Ratanamorn will attempt the extra point. He has not missed so far this year. 16 Ps, 7 of 7 on field goals, and he nails that one. So it's Marshall striking first. The Thundering Herd here in the 4th annual Friends of Cole Bowl has a 7-0 lead over West Virginia. Welcome back to the 4th edition of the Friends of Cole Bowl here in 2009. 7-0 Marshall leads, and there's been a Pat White sighting here at the stadium this afternoon.
Well, he was one of the great quarterbacks to come through this university. There have been quite a few, but I know they're enjoying him down the Miami Dolphins running that Wildcat offense, especially in the big win on Monday night against the Jets. He came in there in the 4th quarter, made a couple big first downs for them, so it's good to see him back at his old stomping grounds.
It'll be Austin and Rogers deep to receive the kick by Ratanamorn, who just knocked through the extra point. The drive goes 64 yards in 16 plays, aided by a costly face mask penalty on the Mountaineers. Of course, the turnover got them started. 12-yard touchdown rush by Anderson, and that's the difference at 7-0.
And I guarantee you, Coach Stewart is very frustrated with the way his team has come out here so far with a lackluster performance, with the turnover and a couple foolish penalties, and that's why they're behind 7-0 right now. That and this young man right there, Brian Anderson, has played an outstanding game so far.
Well, he is a key for them. Certainly did the job last week and is doing the job again this week. Rogers and Austin standing at their own 5-yard line, and the kick is going to go to about the 5. Actually, inside the 10-yard line. It's Tavon Austin. He's got some room left side. Austin down the sideline is banged out of bounds. Ratanamorn, the kicker, had to make the play. Well, that's what they like to see from the freshman. And it's almost like a cookie cutter, because you look at him, he's 5'9", 164 pounds. They keep getting the same kind of backs.
I tell you, they really do. I mean, he's right in the mold of Jock Sanders and Noel Devine. You see him doing a great job, not wasting any time hitting the hole. And the kicker really made a touchdown-saving tackle on that play.
Well, they wanted a flag on a late hit, and Stewart is all over the officials. And I think Austin had already stepped out of bounds before he was hit. It is Geno Smith, the freshman at quarterback, out of Miramar, Florida, and there are a lot of Floridians on this West Virginia team. It's inside the 45 down to the 43, and let's go back and take another look at the hit that the Mountaineers thought was late.
Well, you can't really fault him. First of all, he is a kicker, so he's not going to be a guy that's going to hurt anybody, but he's got to make sure he gets him down, and he doesn't know coming from where he was. But if you look at it, I think Tavon Austin did step out of bounds.
Well, plus it was a necktie tackle.
Right, the horse collar they could have called.
They didn't. It is second down and inside handoff again, but there's not much there. It's going to be stacked up at about the 43-yard line.
It'll be interesting to watch the play calling here with Geno Smith at quarterback. You know, he is a true freshman, hasn't played much. See if they get it. They've already been a little bit of conservative, going with 2 runs off the bat. But they probably just want to let him get a chance to get his feet wet, get involved in the game before they trust him with a few passes. Great
numbers coming out of high school, and they expect big things from him. Sanders and Arnett are split to the near side, the left side of this formation. Lions, the big one at 6'8", is also in there. Second down play coming up. Over the middle, the pass is incomplete. It was in and out of the hands of Brad Starks, who could not hang on. And Brad Starks, by the way, is the number 3 quarterback if something happens to Smith.
And Geno Smith did a great job recognizing the pressure coming right in his face, right in the middle. Delivers a halfway decent ball to Starks. He's got to make that catch for the first down. You got to help out your quarterback in there in his first real significant playing time of the season. He's played a little bit, but not in this type of situation, playing against your in-state rival.
Kozlowski averaging almost 47 yards per kick, and it'll be Ashton Hall, the deep man. Hall standing back at his own 10-yard line, so another chance for Marshall. A little bit of pressure, but not much. The kick is going to head for the end zone, and the Mountaineers are going to stop it near the goal line. Nope, it's going to be a touchback. It is a touchback. Mountaineers thought they had it down at the 1, Danny, but it didn't work out that way.
Well, they're going to be real frustrated. The crowd already upset about the call, and now they get the tough touchback. It's a close one.
We'll be back. Along with Danny Cannell and our crew, our Big East crew here, ESPN Plus crew in Morgantown. I'm John Sanders. Glad to have you along. Not a happy beginning for Coach Stewart.
No, and this is a great opportunity for Marshall to really put West Virginia in a tight spot. If they can go down there and put some points, even a field goal, then West Virginia's got to start getting a little bit nervous. Their starting quarterback is out of the game. They played sloppy so far. So this is a big series in my mind for Marshall. They can really put some pressure on West Virginia.
Well, 2 keys to the herd offensively standing together, Anderson and Slate. Anderson set to go to work under center from Schofield. It has been a good start for the Herd. Anderson under pressure dumps it off. That is Slate, and a flag comes down. Possible face mask situation as Slate was knocked out of bounds. We do have another flag. You saw Bill Stewart give him a pat on the back. I guess that's in-state respect, huh?
That's right.
Yeah, he has a lot of respect for Marshall. Came to West Virginia to play football, wound up at Fairmont State.
There's no foul for offensive pass interference. The pass was behind the line.
No penalty on this play.
You can see Brian Anderson coming out there. He's finding he's pressing the line. Does a good job there. I think what West Virginia wanted was some blocking, called for blocking downfield, but because the pass was behind the line of scrimmage, they're allowed to do that.
Reed Williams made the hit defensively again, and he's been all over the field here in the first quarter, which is winding down to 3.5 minutes remaining. Walker, Wilson, wide receivers split to the left side. Out of the shotgun, the inside handoff. Bit of room at the 30, putting his head down. And getting out to the 31-yard line is Marshall. Hogan came up to wrap him up, and they have a nice, pleasant exchange, I'm sure.
Well, a lot's been made about Noel Devine and what a runner he is, but Darius Marshall's showing he's got some moves, too. He's not going to let the first guy tackle him either. And so far, he's done a good job of creating some holes and finding the open space and getting the edge.
First down play at the 32 now for the Herd. They have moved the ball well here in this opening quarter, and you can see they have had the ball most of the quarter. Marshall, he's got 3, and he's maybe 4 as he goes down in the grass with Reed Williams, number 47. Reed was on top defensively for West Virginia. He'll get it out to the 36-yard line.
When Reed Williams, we've called his name quite a few times today. He's been all over the field so far. Found a very interesting quote in the paper this week where he was talking about Chris Neal, his nose guard in front of him, has really provided him with a lot of opportunities to make some plays.
Yeah, we've got 2 Wilsons on the field at the same time. One's 25, the other's 82. The throw comes near side, and it's dropped. I'll tell you what, you could tell on that play that Wilson was going to run with the football, and he forgot to take it with him.
That's rule number 1 as a wide receiver. Make sure you catch the ball before you cut upfield. He just ran a little quick out route there. Was thinking about cutting it back up inside before he got it, but he's a guy who's really come a long way. He's had a breakout season so far. He needs to make those kind of catches to keep his momentum going.
And this is a pretty big play for the Mountaineer defense right here at 3rd and 6. The shotgun formation. The Herd in green and white, trying to end a winless string against West Virginia. There's pressure. The dump off to Marshall. Marshall at the 30, cuts it back at the 35, still cuts it back, and is really blasted by Berry. Was applying the rush. Scooter Berry drilled it. Marshall was trying to weave his way for a first down, and he was greeted rudely.
Well, he was doing a great job of trying to make a cutback across the field. But when you do that, you better make sure of where everybody is on the field. You can see Scooter Berry almost back, but Darius Marshall, when he ends up cutting it back, Scooter Berry stayed with the play.
He really ripped it. Wow. Whitehead will punt.
That's amazing for a defensive lineman to almost make the sack on the quarterback and then come back after that much time has elapsed and still make that type of hit.
Alexander standing at his own 15-yard line. The kick is going to be called for a fair catch at the 20 by Brandon Hogan. A reminder that West Virginia fans can spend Thanksgiving weekend with Coach Huggins and the Mountaineer basketball team. It's all coming up. Hosted by ESPNU and the Big West Conference. They call it the 76 Classic. It'll be in Anaheim, California at Disneyland. Opening round matchup for the Mountaineers is against Long Beach State. And Bob Huggins will be joining us a little bit later to talk about his basketball team. It's a big event, and it's a nice warm trip. Geno Smith is the quarterback, working out of the shotgun. Mountaineers trying to get something going, standing alongside Noel Devine. Devine into the pass pattern. And they look right up the middle. Making the catch is Jock Sanders. He's at the 25, maybe the 26-yard line. Harvey wrapped him up defensively.
you can see Geno Smith right here. If he wasn't warmed up, he's going to be warmed up now. This is 2 plays back to back. He's gotten hit right as he's thrown the ball.
Now, Harris was right in his lap, number 35 for the Herd. It is 2nd down and 5. First quarter winding down, less than 50 seconds to play, and Marshall has a 7-0 lead. Out of the shotgun formation, in place of Jarrett Brown, is Geno Smith. Looks left, throws left, and there's nothing there at all. Tavon Austin made the catch of the pass, and he's probably sorry that he did, because Brandon Burns, number 8, was right there to greet him.
And what a great job. They just run a little bubble screen right here to Tavon Austin. But Brandon Burns did a great job of just slipping his blocker and getting in there for the loss. And that's a great play right there from Marshall. Marshall's defense has come to play as well as their offense. I mean, they really are outplaying West Virginia so far in this game.
Well, he has 4 tackles for losses, and that's going to do it, I think, for the first quarter. It's winding down. And West Virginia will be in a punting situation. The Thundering Herd has controlled ball possession. Mountaineers trying to get ready for the 4th annual Friends of Coal Bowl, but they trail after the first quarter 7-0. It's the Herd on top. Welcome back to Morgantown and our 4th annual Friends of Coal Bowl. It was Brian Anderson starting the scoring on a 12-yard run, capping a 64-yard drive. And, of course, the injury to Jarrett Brown, we have not seen him since he left the field. So that is bad news for the Mountaineers.
No, obviously. I mean, that's the key to their offense. He's been making great decisions all year with the football, spreading it around to all his weapons. But today, unfortunately, he's been knocked out of the game early when he was trying to pick up a first down. Normally, as a quarterback, you tell him to get down, but I got to give him some credit. He was going for the first down, but you can see 3 Marshall defenders collided with him at once there, and he did not get up from that one.
Well, I know that your number 13 was sandwiched in there a few times, so that's no fun at all, but it's going to be a 3rd down play coming up for the Mountaineers, who trail at 7-0 after the first quarter. In this series, one team getting ahead hasn't really meant a whole lot. It's changed as the game has gone on.
Absolutely. This is the type of situation where you have to make sure you finish the game, because this one might come down to the 4th quarter today.
3rd down play. 3rd and 10. Smith on in relief of Brown. Looks up the middle, throws on the run, and the pass is caught. That is Ulrich Arnett. And Ulrich Arnett is a pretty good size, 6'2", 189, and he was there to make that catch.
It's a great route. The problem I have with it is make sure you know where you are on the field. Make sure you have enough yards to get the first down. You can see there he's just a yard short. You always want to make sure where you're running your routes, the distance you are on the field, because if you make that type of catch, you want to keep the chains moving. Unfortunately, he was about 2 yards short.
Kozlowski in his second putt. Booker and Bembry are the deep men standing at their own 30-yard line. So Marshall, with the lead, is going to get the football back. Backing up near the 20 is Booker. Goes right side, looks for some place to go, and there's no place to go. And defensively, Marshall, Glover came up to make the hit. And, of course, the kick teams have been a problem for West Virginia in the last couple of years in the coverage. Let's take you back to '97. The in-state rivalry renewed before 65,000. Amos Zaraway punishing Marshall on the ground. And they also had a future NFL quarterback, Mark Bulger. Goes to Chad Wobble. That is his lone touchdown pass. He had just 114 yards passing. And for Marshall, Chad Pennington connecting with Randy Moss. Who else on a 15-yard touchdown? But a Pennington interception led to Zaraway's 1-yard plunge, and that ended the high-scoring affair 42-31 in favor of West Virginia. Anderson dumps it off. The catch is made. Down he goes at about the 17. Glover was right there to greet Cody Slate that time.
It's a great play by Glover there, making sure that you get their big tight end down for a loss there. You can see Brian Anderson with a little play action to Darius Marshall. Does a great job actually just dropping it over the defensive end there, but just a great open field tackle. That's the thing. First thing you learn the first day of two-a-days is how to make that tackle, and he did an excellent job right there.
Well, hit and wrap, and that's what he did, right?
Yep.
2nd down and 10. Anderson looking right, throwing right, incomplete. Intended for Dobson. It was incomplete. And Hogan, number 22, was right there with him.
You can see West Virginia brought a few blitzers that time. Brian Anderson, realizing he has one-on-one matchups outside, takes a shot to Aaron Dobson, almost makes the catch. Hit his hands, actually.
Dobson, a true freshman, too.
That's pretty good coverage by Brandon Hogan as well. But that's what you want to do. You want to take your shots. It doesn't matter that you complete them or not. At least you're keeping them honest and taking your vertical shots down the field.
Maybe a little bit of confusion here for the West Virginia defense, and with 13:22 to play in the opening half, they're going to call a timeout and talk things over. We'll take the timeout with them. Back with more of the 2009 Friends of Coal Bowl. 7-0 Marshall leads. We are back to the 2009 Friends of Coal Bowl, and it's been no fun at all so far for those in old gold and blue, as Marshall has pretty much controlled the football game. And Jarrett Brown is back on the field. Now also for West Virginia, Scooter Berry leaving the field and going to the locker room. That's not good news.
No, Scooter Berry's been battling injuries all year long. They don't want to see him headed to the locker room early.
4-receiver formation. It's 1st and 10. Ball at the 17-yard line. We're in the second quarter, 13:22 until halftime. Anderson steps up and guns it over the middle. It's intercepted. Oh, they rule it incomplete. It looked like Reed Williams, who already has 5 tackles, might have pulled off the interception.
And Reed Williams did a great job of reading the route. You can see him there right at the top of your screen. He sees the receiver coming across and recognizes it as an in cut, and then turns into a receiver himself, laying out for the football, and almost makes the great catch.
Jock Sanders will be deep along with Brandon Hogan. And Williams has been very effective. That was a 3rd down and 10 play. Whitehead to punt. Bill Marshall will give it back to West Virginia. And they should, Danny, get decent field position.
They should, and they need to take advantage of that if they can.
Not a deep kick, fielded at the 44. The ball pops loose, picked up by the Herd, and they'll run it back to the 26-yard line. Goes Sanders with a fumble, and right there to pick it up was John Jacobs, and another turnover. That has really killed West Virginia all year long.
Well, a lot of it has to do with these players when they're trying to get those extra yards. They're trying that second effort, and they just get careless with the football. It's something they've dealt with. They've struggled with it all year long. You see John Jacobs ever opportunistic, picking it up and almost taking it in for the score, but you talk about a team who has actually absolutely controlled the emotion of this game, has had the momentum on their side, is the Marshall team. I mean, they have absolutely had everything work to their advantage so far in this game. They really need to capitalize now and put some points on the board.
But it was Sean McClellan, number 39, who caused that fumble with the hit that he put on Sanders, who was trying to spin. And it's great field position now for the Herd. They've got it inside the 25 at the 24. Here comes Marshall right side. Gets a block. And a 1st down as he goes out of bounds. Let's watch again and see how the Mountaineers turn it over for the 2nd time here in the first half.
You can see Jock Sanders there. He was struggling with the football, and that's you're most vulnerable when you're running with one hand on the ground. Just go down. There's sometimes when it's better not to get the extra yards. Just protect that football.
1st and 10, the football at the 12-yard line.
You see Brian Anderson directing traffic up there.
It's Marshall. He'll get a couple, pushes his way forward inside the 10-yard line.
One of the things offensive coordinator John Shannon told us was a lot of their most effective runs come when Brian Anderson puts them in a good situation. They'll give him a few runs up at the line of scrimmage, and they'll have him run away from a certain technique where they feel they can get the best leverage for their offensive linemen.
17 turnovers now for the Mountaineers. That's one more than they had all of last season. A season in which they went on to beat NC State in the Meineke Car Care Bowl. Wilson, the lone wide receiver, split left side. This is Marshall. He sidestepped his way along the left side of that line. That ball comes loose. Mountaineers officials will try to dig it out and see who gets the ball. It is West Virginia football. So the Herd returns the favor to the men from Morgantown.
There it is. We talked about Jock Sanders being careless with the football when he's fighting for their extra yards. Well, watch Darius Marshall doing the same thing.
And was that out?
Absolutely. Number 22, Brandon Hogan, doing a great job of recognizing Darius Marshall, just trying to back his way into the team. But while he was doing that, he didn't have ball security.
Well, the turnover is the first for Marshall, and breathing a little easier is Coach Bill Stewart. Smith is still the quarterback. We have seen nothing of Jarrett Brown since he went down. Noel Devine waits for a hole and then takes advantage of it as he pushes it across the 10 to about the 12-yard line. He's so good at that, Danny. He just waits and waits and then moves.
He really is. And the other thing he does well is he reverses field. So the Marshall defense really has to make sure they corral him, have to send a lot of tacklers after him. They really emphasize that all week of practice.
Albert McClellan, one of the keys on that defensive line, made the tackle on Noel Devine. Devine got about 6 on the play. He'll try it again. Nothing doing that time. Right there to greet him. You see Burks was in on that play.
That's a whole lot of man right there, too.
Sure
Number
is.
58, 6'1", 307 pounds. He actually played his way, earned a scholarship for this Marshall team. You always have to admire a lot of guys who can work that hard, where they catch the attention of the staff and earn that free ride.
Third down play coming up. And once again, it's Devine dancing. He's going to go down at the 11. And then be pushed back to about the 5-yard line. So very good coverage. Harvey was there, number 30. And Marshall, good job defensively, and now they should have good field position if we don't have another turnover.
They really have. I mean, look at the pressure right off the bat from Vinnie Curry, number 99. Followed up by Mario Harvey, their weak side linebacker. Just a great job of going to the football. I mean, it's as simple as that. They're just following the football, doing a great job of containing Noel Devine.
Kozlowski will be kicking to a couple of deep receivers. Baker and Bembry are deep. And get it off from about his own goal line. And they're going to let it roll, and it takes a West Virginia bounce down to the 35-yard line, and that's where Marshall will have it with 9:32 remaining. The Herd making some noise, controlling the first half. On the scoreboard, they lead it 7-0. For the third time in 4 years, Friends of Coal Bowl being played in Morgantown, and you see the difference in the numbers between Devine and Marshall, the two guys we talked about.
Well, they're number 2 and number 3 in the FBS, but I tell you what, Noel Devine has been contained by the Marshall defense. Defensive coordinator Rick Minter mentioned that this was going to be the biggest challenge they faced all year, and they have stepped up to the challenge. They're not really doing anything special. They're not bringing a whole lot of blitzes. They're just playing sound football, and they're tackling.
Walker and Wilson split wide to the right. Cody Slate, the outstanding seniors, in the slot on the left side as they prepare to start from the 36-yard line. It'll be first down and 10. Crowd bundled up and, at least at this point, dry but not happy. Those at least in old gold and blue. The young men from Huntington have controlled this football game early on. Anderson rolls right, looks, throws, catch is made right at the first down marker. Making the catch defensively was Hogan. The pass went to Wilson, number 82, and he is very close to a first down. I think he's got it.
I've really been impressed with Marshall's game plan so far. They get Brian Anderson out of the quarterback here. They haven't kept him stationary in the pocket. They give him opportunities to get outside the rush. Really opens up his vision down the field. I'm very, very impressed with how they've given West Virginia's defense so many different looks.
It is a first and 10. The ball outside at the 46-yard line. Clock winding down to 9 minutes left. And at the 50, they finally pushed Marshall out of bounds in the West Virginia territory, but we've got a flag on the play as well.
Holding, 16 offense. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Looks like the little quarterback, running back issues there with the exchange there. It just didn't look as clean as you would think, but the holding call that going against their tight end, Lee Smith, probably one of the last guys you would expect from that coming out of their captain tight end out in the field who's known for his run blocking skills.
Well, both of their offensive captains are tight ends, Slate and Smith. There's the breakdown, 16 rushes, 12 passes. This is play number 29 coming up with 8:35 to go. Clock restarts. Play clock winding down, and I don't think they got it off in time. You saw the reaction from Anderson. He saw the play clock. He was trying to hike me the ball. Let's go.
He knew it. It's just a hair too late.
Timeout, Marshall. The timeout occurred before the delay of game. That's first timeout.
That's a great job by the coaching staff over there, recognizing the situation, saying, hey, timeout before you get the delay of game.
Here, give me the ball.
He's trying. That's the worst situation to be in, especially when you're in the shotgun. Because you don't know if they can hear you. You're trying to tell them. You're saying, hey, guys, hurry up, hurry up. They can't hear you.
I guess the question is, why didn't the quarterback call timeout there?
Well, I think he was thinking that his best opportunity was to get the snap before it went to zero. The coach just realized, hey, we're not going to get this off, and if we do, it might not be a good play. They wisely protected their team.
We're at Milan Puskar Stadium, Mountaineer Field, 30 years old. What a great job they've done with this facility. Happy to have you along on a chilly, gray, and at times damp Saturday in Morgantown, West Virginia. Out of the gun, Anderson looks left, throws left, and nobody home. It was intended for Cody Slate, but that pass was not close.
No, he had great coverage there. Number 30, J.T. Thomas, their weak side linebacker, was in coverage on Cody Slate, and there really was not much of a window for Brian Anderson to put the ball. He wisely threw it away. If you're going to miss there, you'd rather miss to the outside, because if you throw it behind him there, it could be an interception going the other way.
Second down and long. Here's J.T. Thomas, flies around the field. Terrific from his linebacker position. He has an interception on the season. Mountaineers have had at least one interception in each of their games so far this year. Anderson with time now, runs out of time. And he is slammed down by Julian Miller. Miller will celebrate a sack.
You see West Virginia there, they dial up the blitz. Darius Marshall, number 5, tries to pick up a block, but you got to make sure you finish him off. Julian Miller, number 97, the end, comes free. And that's really the first time they've been able to get any effective pressure on Brian Anderson. They've been able to get in the backfield. That's the first time they've been able to bring him to the ground for the sack.
Well, the nose tackle, Chris Neal, was back there as well. So all kinds of people coming after Anderson. It is third down and a ton. 3rd and 28. Anderson this time steps up, still looking, now throws. Did he make the catch? The official says yes. It'll not be enough for a first down. Antavius Wilson made the tackle. They've got Antavius and Jamal Wilson out there, and this is Antavius Wilson. Boy, he had a lot of time that time.
He absolutely did. Brian Anderson has a real good knack for the pocket. And I'm really surprised he was able to find that receiver wide open. Antavius Wilson just running a deep curl route. Actually, he kind of just goes off the script there, realizes, hey, my quarterback's still playing back there. Let me just hook up.
And there was a nice catch in front of Tandy that time, but it's still a punting situation, although a much better situation.
In these types of games, some of it does become a field position battle, so they will be able to pin him back here, hopefully.
And we've got a stoppage in play.
Under further review.
Well, I thought he caught it. I thought it hit him right in the gut.
I think it did too. I mean, it appeared like it could have bounced off the ground, but I think he got his arms underneath there.
It'll be
But this will be a big play. I mean, it wasn't for the first down, but I think Coach Stewart, he realizes the importance of field position in this game, and every play matters.
Well, it was a long pickup on the play. It went from 3rd and 28 to 4th and a couple. And again,
I think it hit him right between the 8 and the 2.
I do too. He knows he made the catch.
Yep. I think it'll be a pretty clear-cut call.
Well, head coach Mark Snyder getting the word in with the officials. He's saying, you got it right, guys.
Yep. He's just reassuring them.
That's a good look. It might have bounced off his chest. But
well, a lot of times you can just tell by receiver's reaction, too. And when he got it, he caught it, he held it up, said, look, I caught it, guys. Let me show you. A lot of times that goes a long way. Now, the eye in the sky doesn't lie. But from what we've seen so far from all the reviews, it looks pretty clear. And if any case, I don't think there's any undisputable evidence that it wasn't a catch. So I think the play that's called on the field will be the one that stands.
Well, it's a 26-yard difference.
It's called 4th down.
So it's 4th down. Instead of being 4th down and a ton, that play picked up 26 yards. And now they've got a chance to pin the Mountaineers back deep in their own territory with 6:50 to play.
And I think that's the biggest difference is they'll be able to pin them back now with a halfway decent punt. They'll be able to get them inside the 15, maybe even the 10.
Hogan will go back to receive the punt from Whitehead. Case Whitehead. Came in averaging 38.5, and this is a fake. He's got near the first down. Whitehead carried it. The Herd players think they've got it. It will depend on the spot. This is close. I think they're going to measure. Pat Leisure got in there defensively for the Mountaineers, but was it in time? I think it's going to be maybe a shade short.
I think it is too, just from the naked eye looking up here. It does look like he's going to be short. Man, I would have liked to seen him try to get the outside. I know he's a punter and he's not used to running the football, but it looked like he had some room to make a run for the chains.
Well, if they did stop him short, you can credit Leisure with making the play defensively for West Virginia. And it is short by about a half a yard.
And they really had what they wanted when they had the look. I mean, it looked like he had some room to go on the sideline. He had some grass to run to. But West Virginia coming up with the stop.
Still Smith at quarterback. It was an early exit injury-wise for Jarrett Brown. Scooter Berry is also hurt for West Virginia, so the Mountaineers suffering a little bit physically in this game. Smith set to go to work. The freshman quarterback slowed a little bit over the summer by a broken foot. An accident riding an ATV, of all things. I didn't know quarterbacks were allowed to ride ATVs.
Well, when you get to the next level, they have it in your contract.
I was challenging the spot on the previous play.
Well, you would expect them to challenge that call.
Yeah, when I was watching it, I did feel like it was a questionable spot, so we'll get to see. You know, if you look where his knee is, it's pretty close. It's going to be a tough one to overturn. I think that's probably one of the hardest things to challenge is the spot of the football.
Well, if that 44-yard marker was the end zone, would that have been a touchdown?
You would think it would have been, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, Coach Snyder's going to help if he can.
He's in there pleading his case.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. Marshall will be charged with a timeout.
You're right. He was short.
Yep. He was down, but it was close.
It was very close.
And I think for Coach Snyder, probably worth the challenge.
Absolutely. You know, and that's kind of the call you would expect from them. They're the underdog in this game. Hey, why not let it all hang out? Go for the big, go for the play fake. You've got the momentum of the game. I like the play call, just the execution.
Will Johnson in the lineup now for West Virginia, along with Noel Devine. The freshman quarterback, Geno Smith, taking over in the absence of Jarrett Brown, and we'll get an update when they give us one. First down 10. Ball at the 44-yard line. West Virginia 6:24 to play in the half. They have trailed throughout, yet to score. Smith throw. Oh, he's out of bounds. Alric Arnett was well out of bounds when the ball got there.
And you just got to know where you are on the field. It's all about field awareness at that point. I mean, he just didn't even give his quarterback a chance to throw the ball anywhere.
No, it was a good pattern.
Geno Smith delivered a bullet. He's just about 3 yards too wide.
Exactly. But he was throwing it where the receiver was. 6:20 to go in the half. Mountaineers trying to make something happen. 2nd down and 10. Smith under some pressure gets it to Sanders. Jock Sanders at the 50, the 45. Flag comes in as he gets inside the 30-yard line. Part of this may be coming back. McClellan finally made the tackle. But that's what both Sanders and Devine can do for you.
Legal block in the back.
Yep.
Number 4 in the offense. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
And that's against West Lions.
And I mean, it's just more of the same story for West Virginia. These foolish penalties. They have their first big play of the game. They get some momentum, and it's coming back.
Well, they're self-destructing. That's all you can say. There was the block in the back.
Just in the you can
right
see
there.
West Lions. You know, it's one of those situations where if you're out of position, let the guy go, because you're better off just letting these elusive backs and receivers, let them make a guy miss.
Well, here's the other option you can do is just stand there and get in his way.
Yeah, that works too.
2nd down play. Smith hit from behind and down he goes. Ball pops loose. Smith was jarred by John Jacobs. The defensive end made the hit. Jacobs was all over him, and I don't think Smith ever saw him.
No, absolutely. They're trying to dial up a little trick play, trying to take a chance down the field, but John Jacobs just did a great job of rushing around the end, just a speed rush around the tackle.
So it's 3rd down and 10.
John Jacobs had a nice little game with the fumble recover earlier, and now a big sack.
Well, absolutely. Number 47 for West Virginia, number 46 for Marshall. A couple of linebackers doing a lot of work on the defensive side of the ball this afternoon. Smith again looks right down the middle. The pass is deflected and incomplete. Lions with the intended receiver. Arrington just knocked it out of the air.
Geno Smith had a little window. You talk about being able to drop it over defenders. There sure wasn't much room to drop it. He tried, but Arrington showing a little elevation there.
And he took another hit from guess who?
John Jacobs right there. I mean, we talked to their staff. The defensive staff said, hey, we got to get Jake on the field. They want to see him play. He's listed as a backup, but he definitely is one of the important pieces to Marshall's defense.
Well, back defensively is Booker. Receive the kick. Kozlowski, who's averaging 49 yards per punt. And tight-roping the sideline. See where he stepped out. It's going to be about the 24-yard line. And that was Hall. Ashton Hall, one of their better players. He broke a record that was held by Randy Moss. We'll tell you about that when we come back with more of the 4th annual Friends of Coal Bowl. 7-0 Marshall has the lead with the aid of a face mask penalty on a punting situation. They took it 64 yards. Anderson carried the last 12. That is the difference in the game at this point. Along with Danny Cannell, I'm John Sanders, and Mark Snyder pacing the sidelines because he knows how precarious a 7-0 lead can be.
And it's been pretty much a defensive battle so far today, but really a game of emotion. And to me, it looks like Marshall is playing with more emotion than West Virginia is. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they are the underdogs. They've yet to win in this rivalry. I think they're playing with they're playing for respect right now.
Well, possession-wise, it has been all Marshall. They have dominated this football game. They had the ball about twice as much as West Virginia. Anderson under center. Marshall with it. Hit in the backfield and spun down. Right there was Reed Williams again. Well, those two linebackers, one for Marshall, one for West Virginia. They're playing their hearts out today.
Boy, you can't say enough about him. They tried to bring Cody Slade across to get a little tight end trap. Unfortunately, they forgot about number 47. He has been all over the field tonight.
You see in his career against Marshall, he likes those green and white uniforms. However, last year the Marshall game was his final game of the season. He went down and worked his way back. He has been bothered by some injuries this year. 2nd and 11. Clock winding down to 4 minutes left in the half. Marshall throws it short, and it is caught by Cody Slate, and Slate will have a first down. Slade gets out to about the 39-yard line. Nate Sowers made the tackle.
And once again, when they need a big play, Brian Anderson's going to find his favorite target. That's Cody Slate, just coming straight across. You see number 5 there, picking up a blitz for him, giving him some time. Cody Slate just coming on a drag route across the field.
Yeah, that's a tough job right there to ask Reed to cover him at that point. Reed Williams was not able to keep up with him. It's a 1st and 10, the ball at the 39-yard line. 3:40 remaining opening half. Marshall in control. Anderson looks, throws low, incomplete. It was intended for Marshall out of the backfield. Anderson, for the most part, they've gotten a little pressure on him, but he's had pretty good time back there.
Yeah, and I think Marshall, they've realized the importance of protecting Brian Anderson. They've done a great job so far, just barring the 1 sack. Other than that, he's had time to look down the field, but I think a lot of that has to do with protection schemes. They've mixed it up. They've blocked 7 guys at times. They've got him out of the pocket, got him rolling out some. It just really kept West Virginia's defense guessing.
Well, he has controlled his offense very, very well. Slade, Wilson, Walker all to the right side, and the ball is going to be rushed ahead to about the 40. Marshall with it for Marshall. Neal, right in the middle of the line, was there defensively.
And when you look at Chris Neal, big number 90 there, he is a big man. When you run a 3-man front on defense, your nose guard is the most important man on the field. And as the West Virginia coaches pointed out, Chris Neal is having a banner year so far for them. That's why they've been able to have so much success. But they're going to have him step up, as well as some of the linebackers, besides Reed Williams, if they want to start stopping this Marshall offense.
Crowd trying to get into it now on a 3rd and 9. Neal often has to change his jersey at halftime because it's ripped and torn. That's because people are grabbing him. Anderson stays behind the line, throws intercepted. Mountaineers have the ball. Making the pick is Hogan. And Hogan fights his way down to about the 35-yard line. Well, Hogan stepped up nicely that time, read it beautifully, and picks it off, and they're cheering in the stands.
Well, somebody needed to step up for West Virginia's defense, and Brandon Hogan did a great job. A lot of times when you come out of the pocket, that's your cardinal sin as a quarterback. You don't want to throw it back against the grain. Brandon Hogan just doing a great job of stepping in front of the route.
Well, it was intended for Wilson, but Hogan was right there, and now the Mountaineers have good field position. Ball at the 35-yard line, 1st down and 10. Sprinting down to about the 20-yard line is Noel Devine, the junior out of Florida. And West Virginia has a lot in the state of Florida.
You know, John, it's such a game of momentum and who has the emotions going on their side. And Brandon Hogan really stepped it up for West Virginia, creating that momentum for this team. The offense ready to capitalize on it right here.
They've got the football at the 20-yard line following the 16 or 15-yard gain. Snap to Smith, the freshman. Throwing for the end zone, incomplete. Intended for Arnett, number 82, but he could not quite get there.
You know, we just talked about the momentum factor in the game. That's what you'll see a lot of times when the offensive coordinator starts sensing that, he'll get more confident and take a shot at the end zone like they did right there.
It brings up a 2nd and 10. West Virginia with just over 2 to play in the half, trying to get even. Smith looks left, throws left. Spun down at about the 13-yard line. Jock Sanders, number 9, made the catch. And coming into this ball game, Jock Sanders with 41 catches on the year.
And so far, Marshall continues to contain West Virginia's biggest playmakers, in Noel Devine and Jock Sanders. Now, they know they're going to get their catches. They're going to get their touches of the football. They just want to make sure they contain them to those types of plays.
Well, you see the job they've done. 20 out of 23 inside the 20-yard line. They've got receivers spread all over the place. Austin, Sanders, Arnett, both to the left side. Smith will keep it. Gets to the 15, and he's dropped there. Not much there for Smith. Harris was there defensively to make the tackle. So it's 4th down and still about 5 to go.
And you can see Smith, I think he was looking for his big 6'8" receiver there in the slot, Wes Lyons. But once again, number 58, James Burks, comes up with a big pressure, able to haul him in.
32-yard field goal attempt for Tyler Bittencourt, who is 5 for 5, had 4 field goals in one game earlier this year, has not missed a field goal. Out of the hold of Cash, and we've got a timeout. Mountaineers will take their second timeout. We are 48.3 seconds away from halftime, and invite you to stick around at halftime as we look back on the first 30 minutes of play. And Bob Huggins will be joining us up here in the booth to talk about basketball. They unveiled some new uniforms last night at their first official practice. We'll check out the Big East scoreboard, and we'll have the highlights and stats from the opening 2 quarters of play. And you've got to give Marshall a lot of credit on both sides of the ball, I think.
Absolutely. They came out here ready to play and looking to notch their first win in this rivalry. They still yet to be able to come away with one. They're hoping to change that today.
Cash will be the holder. Corey Nutter is the long snapper. And Bittencourt set to kick. You understand that Pat McAfee, who did all the kicking for West Virginia last year, is in the house as well. He boots it through. And we'll get the Mountaineers on the scoreboard thanks to the leg of Tyler Bittencourt. 7-3 with 43.1 seconds to go. That's a load off the shoulders of the coaches, Danny, because at least they get on the board before halftime.
And that's so much important. That's what you really want to see before you head to halftime, is have something positive happen, especially when you've had a mistake-filled first half and really haven't had anything going your way. At least you can take that into halftime and try to create some good news for the players to respond to when you come out for the second half.
And, of course, you lose your quarterback on your first possession of the afternoon. Jared Brown went down, has not been back. The 32-yard field goal makes it a 7-3 game. As we head toward halftime on a gray, chilly, and at times damp Mountaineer Field.
Well, Coach Stewart, when we talked to him earlier in the week, he said it might be spitting up here. And I didn't know what that meant, but now I do, because I'm looking at the weather, and I guess this is what they call spitting up here.
Well, I've got to give you credit for leaving the warmth of South Florida to come to Morgantown. And weather-wise, your first trip here is not too exciting.
Yeah, but this is typical football weather. I love it.
Wilson and Marshall will be deep to receive the kickoff. And it is punched back to about the 5-yard line. Marshall with it. A huge return against the Mountaineers last year. We mentioned the last 2 years on kick returns, Marshall averaging over 44 yards per return. The bad news is they're receiving too many kickoffs.
Yeah. And in fact, 2007, he took back the opening kickoff of the game for a touchdown, 77 yards. So West Virginia's they've known the importance of making sure they stop him on kickoffs.
Gavin on the special teams made the tackle. 36.6 to play. And Marshall's got to be very happy with the first 30 minutes of this football game. They did turn it over once. West Virginia turned it over twice. Marshall the lone setback. Anderson hands him the ball, hesitates, and then moves forward to about the 39-yard line before being pushed back. Glover was there to lead the charge for West Virginia. Glover, number 11, a junior out of Warren, Ohio. And Sowers was there as well. Sowers, interestingly enough, has played all over the place for West Virginia. He's thrown a pass, he's caught a pass, he's intercepted a pass.
He really is a jack of all trades for this team. And he plays both the spur safety and the bandit safety, so they keep him moving around the field.
There's some room on the left side near the 50-yard line before Marshall is run down and dropped on the play. Coming up to lead the defense is Keith Tandy, number 8. Also, Goulburn was there. We have played the first 30 minutes of football in the 4th annual Friends of Coal Bowl, and a great job in the first half by Marshall. Well, we talked about these two guys, Danny, right at the beginning, and so far you can see that Marshall has the advantage.
Yeah, well, it's been all about Darius Marshall. He's been able to get the ground game going, and really when you look at these two stats, it's really a tale of the trenches, and Marshall has pretty much dominated both sides of the ball.
Coach Stewart joins us from down below, Coach, and I know the mistakes, again, some turnovers, proved costly to you here in the first half of play.
Well, what happened when we lost our quarterback there, and I don't know if he's going to be back, and that's never a good thing. And we fumbled the punt, and that's good. So we got our defense is playing great, and that's what it's all about. So if we can keep us in the ball game till we get regrouped and get back online.
Coach, with Gino in the game, are you pretty comfortable running the whole offense, or do you have to scale back some?
No, we're going to call the whole gamut. We're ready to go.
All right, okay.
Thank you.
Us at halftime. He'll head to his locker room. His team is down 7-3. It is halftime. Coach Bob Huggins will be joining us from Morgantown when we return after this.
Senior, really the leader of this team, and when he goes down in the first quarter, that's going to take its toll. We talked about the emotions and how Marshall's played with more emotion. West Virginia has had to deal with losing their starting quarterback, and that's not easy to do.
Well, we've got Wilson and Marshall back to receive the kickoff. You mentioned the success that Marshall has had running back kicks against West Virginia. This one's going to be a bit short, fielded at about the 13-yard line by Marshall. Gets away from the first tackler, but then comes the wave of gold jerseys. Well, you see first half versus second half.
And they are a second half team.
According to that graph, and it's just the opposite for West Virginia.
Right.
They've been a great first half team and a so-so second half team.
We talked about them not being able to play a complete game with 4 quarters of football. We'll have to see if those trends continue.
And to hang on to the football, that was another key, and they did not do that very well, turning it over on their first possession. Then again later, Anderson, the quarterback. Lone running back is Marshall. And Darius Marshall has the ball. Dances into the line, now turns it outside. He'll get about a yard, maybe 2. Glover was there defensively, number 11. And also around the football that time was Hogan.
Boy, and Coach Snyder came running on some kind of face mask or horse collar call on that one, but West Virginia's defense looked like they came out ready to shut down Darius Marshall. They've seen enough of him running up and down the field.
They sure have. He's had a pretty good first half, and Marshall has controlled the football game. Wilson comes near side. Walker goes far side. And they'll make a shift of Cody Slate from the right to the left. 2nd and 9. Passing out to the right, incomplete. The pass was low, intended for Walker, and no chance for Chuck Walker to make that play. So it's 3rd and 9. And the crowd's starting to get a little anticipatory here, I think.
They are. They're trying to take advantage of this. A lot of times when you watch a team come out from the second half, they come out a little flat. And that's been the case here for Marshall. Just haven't been able to do much on 1st and 2nd down. It's really hard to go in, especially at the collegiate level, because half times are so long. You have to come out and really get back into the game, and a lot of times it's a big challenge.
Well, a lot of time that first possession of the third quarter is key. We'll see what the Herd can do on 3rd and 9. Anderson with time. Guns the football, incomplete. Intended for Cody Slate. Looked like the ball was there, but it was broken up, and it's incomplete. That was Kent Richardson, number 17, that was there defensively for West Virginia.
We see Brian Anderson once again has pretty good time to throw the football, steps up, goes to his favorite target. You would think Cody Slate would come up with that catch.
I agree with you. Because
couldn't have been a better thrown ball. It was right there, hit him in the chest.
Well, Richardson was behind him. Jock Sanders will be deep to receive the kick, along with Brandon Hogan. The punter is Whitehead, who ran on 4th down earlier, did not make it. This is 4th and 9. I'm sure he'll boot this one. Not a particularly long kick, and a fair catch called for by Jock Sanders. It'll be on the Marshall side of the field that the Mountaineers will set up their first possession in the second half. And look at these numbers. On the season, Devine averaging all-purpose-wise 151.2. Sanders with just 24, averaging 109. So neither one of those guys is anywhere close to where they've been, but we've got more play to go.
Yep, absolutely. Got to play a full football game. But Rick Minner pointed out, no one stopped him all year. So far, they've stopped him for a half.
Smith out of the shotgun. Devine cuts it back. Spun down at about the 39-yard line. Hard Harvey was there.
And, you know, when you see a play like that, it looks like a great play. You know, he just rattled off 5 or 6 yards. But I think what Marshall has accepted is say, hey, he's going to get those share of plays. Let's just make sure we don't give up the big ones.
Second down play, and Smith keeps it. Gets outside and is chased out of bounds that time by Bembry, but he picks up the first down. First time he's really taken it upon himself to run the football.
Well, a lot of times when a defense is emphasizing one ball carrier like they do with Noel Devine, you can see the entire Marshall defense follow Devine. Instead, they forgot about Geno Smith, who was able to catch the edge for a nice gain.
And it was McClellan, number 96, was the big defensive end who was certainly sucked in. He went after Devine on that play. First down 10 for the Mountaineers. First possession of the second half. Football at the 28-yard line. Smith throws into the flat. And the catch is made right there by Starks, but he has no place to go. Starks making the catch, but quick coverage that time by Drakeford. They lost 4 on that play.
And so far, they've done a great job with the wide receiver screens of recognizing them and getting up and just making great open field tackles.
Second down, 14. Other flat this time. Inside the 30 down to about the 28-yard line is Stark, so he had better luck on that side than he did on the near side, but Bembry was there and McClellan also applying some pressure.
And here's the situation. You have Ashton Hall goes up and misses the first tackle, but that's the thing that makes this defense effective is their second and third guys are closing in just as fast, so they're able to contain the plays.
Third down and 10 coming up for the Mountaineers.
West Virginia's getting a little frustrated, the fan base is, with some of these wide receiver screens. I think they'd like to see the ball down the field.
We've got 5 receivers in this formation. Third and 10. Smith looks, waits, starts to run. Now steps forward, throws toward the end zone. The pass is incomplete. It was intended for Wes Lyons, and if anything, I think Wes was very close to getting called for offensive interference.
He did get a little slight push off there. I'd say when you talk about the quarterback position and you see Geno Smith trying to hit his big 6'8" target, if you're going to miss him, might as well put it up high because he's going to catch it or nobody. But I think that's the one thing that the West Virginia offense has lacked with Geno at quarterback has been the vertical passing game. That was something they really took pride in. They wanted to push the ball down the field, but they haven't been able to do it since Geno's been in the game.
In the Big East in third down conversions. This is a fourth down play and 10. Smith gets away and then throws the pass, is caught for a first down. That's Jock Sanders who made the catch, and a good job by Smith to keep that play alive, pick up a big first. Good block that time by Madsen. It really freed him, gave him the extra second or two that he needed.
Oh, you can really see Geno Smith and the type of athleticism that he has, the balance to stay on his feet and keep his eyes down the field to find his receiver. Because you're not going to be able to cover Jock Sanders that long. If you can buy yourself extra time, you'll find an open receiver.
Big first down at the 15-yard line, 14 rather. Here comes Noel Devine. Little seam, 10, 5, touchdown. Well, he does not need much room.
Well, he turns it upfield about as quickly as anybody I've seen play the position. Watch the big boys up front. Give him some room to run. Saw 89 Tyler Urban kicked out an end.
Barkley was right there as well, the left tackle, to open that hole. When he saw that seam, it was see you later. 14-yard touchdown run for Noel Devine, his 8th rushing touchdown of the year. We've got a flag down, apparently.
Well, and this was the question coming into the second half. West Virginia's playmakers for another half. So far, the answer is no.
The officials will sort this one out.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on Marshall. Half the distance to the goal.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Obviously, they were not happy that Noel Devine got into the end zone. So Bittencourt is on for the extra point whenever we get to it. more conversation
well,
now.
I think they're going to want it on the kickoff. They don't want to.
That's a good point.
They don't need an extra yard, an extra
Correction. A penalty will be administered on the kickoff.
I was wondering about that. As soon as they said that, I said, well, that doesn't really help them that much. So they wisely are going to take the penalty on the kickoff.
Well, you saw the true freshman. He's done a pretty good job there. So Bittencourt will try to add the extra point and give West Virginia a 10-7 lead. You can look from behind the goal post, and this should be easy to see if it's good or bad. And it's good, right down the middle. We will head to a break here in Morgantown. 10:49 remaining third quarter. West Virginia getting its first touchdown. Takes the lead for the first time. Bill Stewart a little happier right now because his team has taken the lead for the first time. Able to take it in for the touchdown. Good job by the freshman Smith to get a touchdown on the board. He
really did. Made a couple plays off the script. A big fourth down, buying some extra time and finding Jock Sanders for the first. And he's done a great job filling in for Jared Brown so far today.
Jared Brown going down with the injury on the very first possession for West Virginia, and he has not returned. I don't think we'll find out. I don't think Scooter Berry has returned either. Jamal Wilson is deep to receive the kickoff, along with Marshall.
And I know it's early. I know there's a lot of time left on the clock. But in my mind, this is a big series for Marshall's offense. They really need to respond here to stay in this game.
Leiter will handle the kickoff duties, kicks it deep down the middle. And Marshall will watch it go out of bounds. And that's the kind of play that you need from your special teams. You get your first touchdown in the next boot, and you've had problems stopping Marshall on kick returns. Goes out of the end zone.
You know, it definitely has gotten more damp on the field, and you got to wonder if that's affecting Brian Anderson in the passing game of Marshall. The opening series they came out, he bounced one. There was a drop ball by Cody Slade, who's usually Mr. Sure Hands. So you got to start wondering if the weather is playing a little bit of a factor with Marshall's passing game.
At the 20, it'll be 1st and 10. Darius Marshall, the lone setback. Anderson, the quarterback. Under center, stops, throws right, and the catch is made at the 26-yard line. They wrestle him down over there, but not before the pass was complete to Bonner. I think that's Bonner's first catch of the afternoon. He'll pick up about 6 on the play.
It's been pretty quiet. Marshall's MO all year long has been pretty much 2 players. It's Darius Marshall and Cody Slade. But last week, they were able to get some more receivers involved, and I'm sure they would like to see some more people involved offensively this afternoon.
Anderson checking with his lineman as he moves back into the shotgun. 3 receivers split left, 1 to the right. Inside handoff, Marshall trying to get outside. Little head fake, leans for the first, and I don't think he got there. It depends on the spot. Hogan forced him out of bounds.
Sometimes as a play caller, you're a genius, and sometimes you're just lucky. I don't know what the case was there, but they ran perfectly away from the blitz of West Virginia, and that's why Darius Marshall was able to find that first down.
Yeah, he did pick up the first down. Just squeezed it. Remember, all it has to do is cross the 30 because they started at the 20 after the kick out of the end zone. 9:40 to play third quarter. Marshall tries the right side, and he is hit, falls forward. That was Glover, the first to hit him over there on the right side, the far side of the field. He'll pick up about a yard, maybe 2, 2nd and 8.
And Glover's had a pretty nice game so far, gotten in on quite a few tackles, and you can really tell that West Virginia defensively has picked up their level of intensity in the second half.
Either that or the level of intensity has fallen off for Marshall, one of the two, as it is different so far here. 2nd and 8. They've been able to slow down Darius Marshall. Anderson rolls left, throws left, catch is made out of bounds at about the 38-yard line. That's Walker who made the catch. Let's take a look at that play again from up above.
This is a great throw. You can see one of the hardest things for a right-handed quarterback is to roll to your left. Does a great job squaring up his shoulders and putting a bullet to Chuck Walker right there.
But Walker got out of bounds with 2 yards left for the first.
You'd like to see him try to turn it upfield there and get those, reach for that marker, at least make an effort.
Now some late changes on this offensive lineup now for the Thundering Herd. Anderson under center this time. Looking right, pressure from behind, knocked away, incomplete. That was J.T. Thomas. But we've got a flag.
Legal shift on the offense.
Maybe that was that late player coming in.
Well, you called it, John. I mean, you saw all the activity going on the offensive side of the ball from Marshall. They had a lot of guys in movement. They weren't real sure about who was going where.
Yeah, some of them didn't come set, did they? Probably didn't know where they were supposed to go. The good play by the linebacker that time, breaking it up, J.T. Thomas. Hogan will be the deep man for the Mountaineers, standing right now at his own 25. Whitehead kicking for the 4th time this afternoon. 8:22 remaining third quarter. Mountaineers trying to regain control of this game after being dominated most of the first half by the Thundering Herd. They'll let it roll inside the 30, down to about the 27-yard line. That'll take us to a break with 8:10 to play third quarter. West Virginia has the lead for the first time this afternoon in the Friends of Coal Bowl. Back in a moment. Welcome back to Morgantown. It's 10-7 West Virginia leads. We talked about Marshall and Devine at the start, and Noel starting to pick it up a little bit here in the second half.
Well, it's kind of like watching a couple heavyweight boxers going at it, trading blow for blow. Marshall had the impressive first half, and Noel Devine, not to be outdone, comes out with a touchdown in the second.
So the Mountaineers will start with the football on their own 28-yard line. 8:10 to play. We're in the third quarter. Along with Danny Cannell, I'm John Sanders and our entire ESPN Plus crew. Glad to have you along on this Saturday, late Saturday afternoon in Morgantown. Devine, left side, cuts it back a little bit across the 30 to the 31. Excuse me, that was Jock Sanders, not Noel Devine.
It's hard to tell the difference because they look very similar, and even their coaching staff refer to him as a running back that plays wide receiver. So they're not afraid to give him the ball handed off to him in the backfield.
They should give one of them 2 digits on their uniform.
They should.
Devine and Johnson now in that lineup for West Virginia. Coming outside, this is Noel Devine. This is what he does best. Oh, he can explode at any time. We've got a flag down, though. Hall finally got him out of bounds, but not before he picked up good yardage. A good block at front.
I mean, you just get such an appreciation for it when you see it in real time. Full speed ahead.
Conduct. 7 offense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
You saw him throw the ball in the air after he went out of bounds, and that cost him 15 yards. So it wipes out a very good gain. But it comes after the play was dead, right?
Yep. You know what's very similar about this game is when you look back to the big game they had against Colorado, they were struggling in the first half, and they really made an adjustment to come out and give it to Noel Devine. Here he comes up with a foolish penalty here with the little flip of the football. But when things are going against them, they should give it to number 7 every time.
46-yard line, first down 10. 15 yards of that pickup wiped out by the penalty. And nothing doing this time as he tries the right side, wrapped up quickly, and you saw Jacobs, number 46, along with Janik, were there defensively for Marshall. They lose a yard on that play.
I mentioned the Colorado game, the big Thursday night game on ESPN, and at halftime, Noel Devine went up to Coach Stewart and said, "Hey, Coach, give me the football. Let me put the team on my back." And you got to wonder if this might have been one of those similar situations where he said to Coach at halftime, "Hey, let me carry the team."
Inside 7 minutes left, third quarter. Mountaineers out of the shotgun. The inside handoff once again to Noel Devine. He'll fight his way to about the 49, but he's still going to be well short of a first down. Devine lost a yard on the first down play, and now it's 3rd down and 8. This is where Smith really kind of came to their rescue on that touchdown drive.
He really did. He's, when you look at a quarterback who's coming in off the bench, you'd think maybe they get a little conservative, and they did early on, but they've showed a lot of trust and confidence in him by letting him throw the football down the field a little bit, more so even here in the second half.
And of course, he has not had as many snaps to make those decisions at the line. Plenty of time there. There's the short throw. The catch is going to be made at the 48 by Wes Lyons, the 6'8 senior from North Braddock, Pennsylvania. I mentioned the number of players on this team from the state of Florida, and there are a bunch. "30 players from West Virginia, 22 from the state of Florida."
I just wonder how they get him to come up here in this weather.
They don't tell him about it.
They just must bring him up here in the summertime for their recruiting trips.
They don't tell him about it beforehand. Embry is back to receive the punt. He's standing at his own 10-yard line. Into the end zone. And the punter hit the deck. But there was no flag and no call. And you can hear the reaction from the faithful. Well, he was trying to draw the penalty. Booms it into the end zone and hits the deck, but too late. "2009 Friends of Cole Bowl," and this is a little conversation between the special teams coach and the punter.
It was interesting after that play. You wonder if he's telling him he's got to get the ball off quicker so that it's not that close, or he's telling him, hey, we need a better acting job out of you so we get the call.
He is the special teams coach in addition to being the head coach. So when the special teams don't do well, he takes full responsibility. Of course, I'm sure he'd also like that ball not kicked into the end zone. So Anderson will set up his offense at the 20 with 5:19 to play in the third quarter. The Herd trailing for the first time in the game. Remember, they scored on their first possession. Anderson under some pressure downfield. Did he get the football? That's going to be the question. It was Slate scooping it up, and they rule it incomplete. We'll see if they review that one. Pressure coming from Chris Neal, number 90, the big man in the middle.
Well, no official made the call quickly. They kind of looked around to each other and said, did anybody see it? And it really didn't look like any of them were too sure. But Cody Slate looked like he was pretty close. Did he get his hands underneath it?
I think
John,
he did.
I think he did. It looked like his hands were underneath. They're going to have to take a look at that.
Well, if he did, that is a tremendous catch. They need to stop the clock before that next play.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen. It'll be reviewed.
The officials have done a great job with the different calls that we've had out here. But here you see another look at Brian Anderson taking a shot to Cody Slate.
And from that angle, from behind, it looks like he did scoop it off.
He's got his hands clearly under the ball. He has clear possession. He didn't bobble it.
You couldn't tell from that angle. But it's hard to believe that right in the middle of the field, and there was such a wait to determine whether he caught it or not.
Well, that's what I noticed. The officials, it was like none of them had a good angle, and they were looking at each other, looking around, say, hey, did you see it? Did you see it? And finally, one of them stepped up and said, hey, I thought it was on the ground, but the call was all the way on the sideline. It wasn't one of the back judges. So,
well, it was hard to tell because you could get screened off on
right,
the play.
Exactly. It's not their fault. It's just that none of them had a good angle, so they weren't clear on it. Somebody had to step up and make a call. But that's the advantage of having the replay, that they'll get to go look at it and get the correct call on the field.
That's a good point, because
that was a great throw, by the way, by Brian Anderson. I mean, they had two deep safeties. He had number 20, Boogie Allen, in a trail position, trailing his tight end, Cody Slate, and just dropped it right over the top of him.
Well, if complete, it'll be a 29-yard pickup. And both coaches awaiting the word, a little bit of a delay from upstairs.
And Marshall, I don't want to say they're desperate for this call to go their way, but they could really use a big play right now at this point in the game.
You're right, because West Virginia has regained control here in the third quarter, at least the first 10 minutes of the third quarter. Still no verdict. So we'll wait with him. You can see that Reed Williams is there to talk to his head coach alongside the official, and the other head coach waiting to see the outcome of this. Let's take one more look.
See it drop in there. I think he's got both his gloves underneath there, catches it, clearly has possession. I'd be surprised if this doesn't hold up as a catch.
They will overturn the ruling on the field.
After further review, the ruling on the field is a good catch. The ball will be put at the 48-yard line. First down.
I like that.
29-yard pickup. The ruling on the field.
He actually complimented Cody Slade there. Did you hear that? It was a good catch.
Yeah, it was a good catch. It was a heck of a
beautiful catch.
You know, the Marshall fans enjoying this one. Let's take one more look at it. And again, from this angle from behind, it's difficult to tell if the ball actually touches the turf. But he doesn't. He caught it cleanly.
There was space underneath. Let's see if they can capitalize on that call going their way.
48-yard line, first down 10 for the Herd. Marshall on the sweep. Fights his way forward for 2 to the 50-yard line before he's being ridden down. Williams was there.
Boy, their linebackers all. Reed Williams came out with a strong first half, but J.T. Thomas, number 30, has picked it up as well. And they really look like they focused on, stopping Darius Marshall. He rushed for almost 70 yards the first half. Looked like they're convinced that they need to stop him in the second half.
He got 2 on that play. It's second down and 8. Clock moving. 4:25 to play third quarter. West Virginia with its first lead of the afternoon. Anderson steps up. Falls forward, very close to a first down. Pat Leisure tripped him up, but he's got a first. He doesn't run much, but he's effective.
No, when you ask John Shannon and the coaches for Marshall about him, they said he has just enough escapability to be effective, and you can see it right there. Just barely gets out by a shoestring, but is able to pick up the first down.
Taylor also had a piece of him before he went to 41-yard line. Marshall keeps the drive alive. This is the Wildcat play as Darius Marshall has the football, and he's going to pick up about 6 on the play. Number 2, Robert Sands, who has a couple of interceptions, makes the tackle. I do have to finish the story I never did about Ashton Hall, who plays defense for Marshall. The fact that he broke a record set by Randy Moss. So look at the blocks in front, huh?
Look at student body right there for Marshall offense. They had an overload to the right, and they brought the running back next to the Wildcat over to the right as the lead blocker as well. Here they do the same thing the other way.
And he's going to have a first down. They spin him down at the 29-yard line. Pat Leisure made the tackle. And I'm going to finish this story no matter what. Ashton Hall's vertical leap, 44 inches. The former school record was 43 inches.
Held by none other?
Randy Moss.
That's right. Now here's the same exact play, just running it the other way. Look at the 5 big bodies that are out in front for Darius Thomas, leading the way for him to pick up that first down. A lot of talk has been about the Wildcat being a gimmick, but it really not. It's a frame of mind that you're going to be a smash-mouth type team and just run it.
Whoops. Out of his hand, and he's in trouble back at the 44-yard line. A high snap. Boogie Allen got there defensively to finish off the play, but the bad...
Well, there's the issue that if you have the Wildcat in there and you're not used to snapping it to Darius Marshall, who's only 5'10", you're used to having Brian Anderson, who's 6'3", and here you can see the snap just a little bit high, and you've got a player back there in Darius Marshall who's not used to taking shotgun snaps, so those types of things are going to happen.
Well, his hands are a little chilly. Second down and 23 after the loss of 13. So they get a big first down, and then they give it back. Anderson sets, fires up the middle. The pass is caught at the 26-yard line. That was Slade again.
And really, you've got to credit the offensive line from Marshall. They've done an outstanding job of providing time for Brian Anderson to look downfield. That's such an advantage as a quarterback. You can stand back in the pocket. You can set your feet. You can let your tight end work his route. And he delivers a bullet because he's very comfortable. He can set his feet. He can get his shoulders into it. He can shift his body weight. He doesn't have to worry about getting hit in the mouth. That's a huge advantage for a quarterback. Just a great job by Marshall's offensive line tonight.
Ward is in there in the backfield now for the Thundering Herd. Anderson, 3rd and 6. The ball inside the 20-yard line, and that should be enough. Richardson was there defensively, but Slate, some applause because they've got a first. This has been an impressive drive for Marshall. They kind of woke up when they got this ball.
You know, you really got to credit Cody Slate with that right there. I mean, he's just running a simple drag, but when you talk about field awareness, watch how he gets upfield vertically. As soon as he catches the ball, he knew where that first yardage was. He knew where the yardage marker was, and he went and got the first down. That's great field awareness.
Ball at the 18, first down and 10. The Herd trying to retake the lead, and in the backfield, a smacking tackle that time by West Virginia as they got in there in a hurry. That is Sowers. Watch Sowers.
Well, Nate Sowers, they said he does a lot of things. One of them being coming up in a 9 technique for run support. Boy, he did a great job just shooting the gap there to come up, giving Darius Marshall nowhere to go with the football.
He was in Darius Marshall's lap, pushes the football back to the 24. 2nd down and 16 after a loss of 6.
And that's one way you contain the outside, is to throw your safety up there. Nate Sowers, put him on the line of scrimmage and make sure he stops the outside run.
There's another high snap. Tracked down by Marshall, but the loss is going to really move it back. This time it was the taller Anderson who could not handle it.
Well, that didn't matter if there was a 7-footer back there at quarterback. It just went right over his head. And you got to wonder if Chad Schofield, the center, is having a little trouble getting the snaps back there with the weather.
So the snaps not working out for the Herd here in the 2009 Friends of Coal Bowl, 10-7 WVU. Here it is, 10-7 is our score, but a couple of mishandled snaps have been costly in this drive for Marshall.
Yep, Chad Schofield, the center, is having just a hair high, not horribly high, but in this types of conditions when it's a little bit wet out, you have to make sure that you secure the football and catch it before you make a play.
Well, that was costly to the tune of 30 yards on the play, and it wipes out what looked to be a very promising drive.
It really did. You know, the first half, it was about West Virginia having some miscues on the field. The second half, it's been more of Marshall. They've had the mistakes. So really, when you look at this 4th quarter, it's going to come down to who makes the fewest mistakes.
And we're about to find that out as we start the 4th quarter of play. Good football game, 10-7. Mountaineers trying to beat Marshall for the 9th time in 9 meetings. Anderson's throw, caught. Ball is knocked loose, scramble for it, and West Virginia has it. Slate made the catch, but then he took the hit from Thomas. The ball popped loose, and the Mountaineers recovered.
And that's a huge turnover there for West Virginia. They weren't going to get the first down, but what they did get, they were back into field goal position if they didn't fumble that football.
Now watch the hit by Williams. There's the catch, and there's the strip, the fumble. Beautiful job by Reed Williams to get that hand in there, knock the football away, and get it back for his team.
Well, Reed Williams had an outstanding game, and it continues there on that play. And really, I can't emphasize the importance of that fumble. I mean, we just talked about the miscues Marshall has had, and sure enough, they come out, they're in field goal range. They didn't have the first down, but they could have had 3 points.
Divine into the flat to the right, and he's going to throw downfield. The catch is made. 50, 45. Wes Lyons, the 6'8 senior from North Braddock, Pennsylvania, with a huge pickup right there.
Well, levels on the football field, there's a lower level and an upper level and a deep level. Right here, Marshall had no one accounted for that middle level of the football field, and Wes Lyons was just able to find a little open space in there, and Geno Smith did a great job just dropping it over the top.
Well, he had Divine there as an outlet pass, a safety valve if needed, but the carry...
He'll draw up a few defenders, too.
Smith takes a hit as he gets inside the 40 to the 39-yard line. And that was Ashton Hall, who does hold the vertical leap record, by the way. It only took us the entire game to finish that story.
44 inches. I still can't get over that.
Well, he also holds the broad jump record. Or I guess they call it the long jump now, right?
Right. Well, they call him the anchor of their defense. No matter what records he has, he is a definite key for Marshall's defense.
2nd down and 5. Inside handoff. That time Divine is hit. by Harvey.
Or Thumper, as they like to call him.
Well, he is a thumper at
That's
times.
right. That's a great nickname for a linebacker. And this is a big third down coming up here for West Virginia. Looking to make sure they counter with some points.
Third down and 4. Let's see what they decide to do in this situation. Devine is the running back. Johnson, another tight end on the field. Smith under center. Rolls right, throws right. Out of bounds goes the tight end Johnson, but he should have a first down. Will Johnson, 6'2", 232-pounder. Out of Dayton, Ohio, and Smith a good job to buy just enough time to complete that play.
Yep, they came out with just a little play action, just enough. And Vinny Curry, number 99, the defensive end, right in Geno Smith's face. But I tell you, he's done a great job on third down, keeping the chains moving. That's such an important part of playing the quarterback position is those third down conversions, and he's done a spectacular job tonight.
And that is the first one that they have converted in this football game. Smith with time, deep, down the right side to the end zone, caught, touchdown. Alric Arnett. 33-yard strike for West Virginia.
Well, before they took a shot down the field to Ulrich and they didn't complete it. Well, they went back to the well once again, gave him another chance, and just a perfect throw.
Absolutely.
Just on the time, just on the mark. Not much room. He's running out of room, but man, what a great catch and throw.
You can't fault Bembry on the play because he had terrific coverage. There's not much else you can do.
Daquan Bembry was right there in perfect coverage. There's no defense for a perfectly thrown football.
Bittencourt for the PAT, knocks it right down the gut. 12:31 to play in the game. And West Virginia opens up its biggest lead. 17-7 is our score. Great touchdown, 33 yards, 17-7 Mountaineers. Welcome back once again to Morgantown, West Virginia. We're at Milan Puskar Stadium along with Danny Cannell. I'm John Sanders. What a great touchdown play that was for Arnett. Great throw by Smith, too.
Oh, it was an outstanding throw, right on the money. It's very clear that Ulrich Arnett is their vertical receiver. They've already tried a couple 9 routes to him, and they were able to connect on that one. You know, they've got the underneath guys in Jock Sanders, Noel Devine, and a couple other guys who are that similar stature, but Ulrich really looks like the speedster on the outside. They're able to take advantage of those deep balls.
Well, you can see the turnaround in offensive numbers first half to second half, and it certainly favors West Virginia.
Well, a lot of that has to do with the mistakes. I mean, in the first half, West Virginia was making the mistakes offensively with the fumbles, and in the second half, it was really just comes down to something as simple as a shotgun snap. You know, they're unable to handle it, once with Marshall and the Wildcat, and the other with Brian Anderson back there, but you just have to make sure you secure the football. It's a simple thing, but you still have to handle it.
Short kip, bounces inside the 20 and is finally going to be tracked down and down on the play. This is not the NFL. You can't get up and run.
He thought about getting up and running. I think that shows you the respect they have for Marshall's return game.
Well, that was,
make sure they don't give him any chance.
That was Carpenter. You see some coaching for Geno Smith, but thrown into the fire early in the first possession of this game.
You know, I've been there. I spent most of my career as an NFL quarterback at the backup position, and it is a challenge to come off the bench, especially in a rivalry game when you're losing. You know, they go in, they're losing at halftime, but he's come out, he's played with a head on his shoulders, and put together some great drives.
Ball is spotted at the 18-yard line. It's first down 10 for the Herd. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right side. Anderson sets, throws right, and throws it away. Again, pressure from Neld up the middle. The Ironman Award winner, number 90.
And Chris Neal, he doesn't garner a lot of attention because he plays nose guards. Those guys don't get a lot of love a lot of times because it's a thankless position, but you saw him there getting in good hit on the quarterback. But really, what he does for this defense is he opens up the middle for those linebackers. That's why you're able to see Reed Williams and J.T. Thomas make plays and get their names called out.
Well, Neal doing his job, that's for sure. Taking on 2 or 3 guys at a time, and that does free up those linebackers. Good play fake by Anderson. The throw is incomplete. Double coverage that time on Slate. It was Glover and Hogan who were there to double team. And we've got a flag. Going to be holding, you think?
I think so. And there's Brandon Hogan, number 22, again getting in on the batted ball. Defended for him. He had the interception earlier. He's had an outstanding game. You know, it's hard when you have a favorite receiver like Ryan Anderson clearly has.
73 offense. Penalties declined. Third down.
You know, when you've got that favorite receiver that you like to go to, you always have to make sure that he's not double covered before you throw it. Because I know you have that good feel for him, but you still have to go through your progression. You have to still make sure that there's space to throw it.
3 receivers left, 1 to the right. 3rd and 10. Mountaineers do not take the penalty. They want the down. They want the football. Here comes pressure. The pass is knocked away. Miller applying the pressure. You see number 97 getting up. And West Virginia's doing a much better job in that category in the second half.
Well, John, you mentioned in the first half how much time he had to throw. Well, right there, he's got a guy wrapped around his waist, and he can't get any kind of momentum into the throw. And it affects everything you do as a quarterback when you guys have guys hanging on you. Julian Miller there with the pressure. Notch.
Hogan and Sanders will be deep to receive the punt. It's Karst Whitehead, number 41, handling the punting. At the 35-yard line, that's Hogan. Midfield before he's dragged out. So Hogan, a good job on the return that time. Hall, number 20, was there to make the tackle on the special teams. Mountaineers will have good field position. More to come on the 2009 edition of the Friends of Coal Bowl.
When it comes to uncertain financial times, United Bank has a very unique perspective. Seasons may change, but United Bank is always a constant, providing you safety, security, and sound decision-making. That's the reason we've been in business since 1839. Safe, sound, secure. It's the hallmark of our success. United Bank, at your service.
Hey, Matt, what are you doing?
Me? Nothing.
You didn't think I saw you put the Coke Zero bottle behind your back? We're Coke guys, Matt. We're Coke brand managers. It's unacceptable.
All I was doing was I wanted to take a sip to remind myself that Coke Zero stole our taste.
Sip. The bottle's empty. You drink the whole thing, Matt.
It tastes like Coke. What do you expect me to do?
I want you to pull the knife out of my back when I turn around.
Da, 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 da.
So, it's a typical morning when suddenly you see built Ford tough trucks. The ground starts rumbling like you just struck oil, and you know what? You did hit pay dirt because it's Ford Truck Month. And leading this herd is the Ford F-150. It's not just a truck, it's an F-150. And with great power comes great fuel economy. No wonder it was named 2009 Motor Trend Truck of the Year.
Now climb behind the wheel of an 09 F-150 truck and save mucho dinero with $5,000 total cash back. Or 0% APR for 60 months. It's Truck Month. Only at your neighborhood Ford store.
I thought it was crazy feeding in the fall. I always feed in the fall, but it's the best time.
Feed your lawn in the fall.
The fall feeding makes all the difference in the world. What the fall feeding does is build the roots.
That's when the roots sort of want nutrition.
I give my lawn Scott's Winter Garden. It's like a root building machine. It builds your lawn from the roots up. Next year, you get this. The stronger the roots, the stronger the lawn all year long.
The best time to feed is when it'll do the most good.
There's no substitute for the fall feeding, trust me. It is the best thing you can do for your lawn. I use Scott's Winter Guard.
We are back. Let's check out the numbers. Divine now at 79, closing in on Marshall. He wasn't even in the same area code at this halftime.
No, and if things play out the way they have, I'd look for Noel Divine to take the lead here, because I think they'll put a little bit more onus on him and let him try to work the clock a little bit, work that running game, really take over offensively.
Well, last week in Tulane was the first time that Marshall did not have 100-plus yards in a game. Both these guys, Divine and Marshall, have had 200-yard rushing games this year. Smith under center. Divine behind him, deep at tailback. Divine tries to get outside, and he'll get about 4 on the play. Bembry there defensively for the tackle. Bembry number 17 for the Thundering Herd. Pickup of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Now you know the Mountaineers have been the last few years with Pat White a very effective running team. They'd like to run some here and move that clock down a little bit. Last 4 possessions, only 1 punt. A couple of touchdowns for the Mountaineers in the 3rd quarter. There's Smith again, cuts it back and goes down as he gets inside the 45-yard line. Another reminder, hoop season. What better way if you're a Mountaineer basketball fan to spend that Thanksgiving weekend with Coach Huggins and the Mountaineers in Anaheim, California, the 76 Classic. Go with the team and enjoy the weather. The other NCAA teams in this elite field, UCLA, Texas A&M, and West Virginia. And West Virginia will open against Long Beach State on November 26th.
Maybe they could move the Friends of Cole Bowl out to California. We could do that game next year.
There's Smith again, and he's not going to get there. Put his head down. Harris met him, number 35. Kellen Harris with the tackle.
Well, a lot of times you'll see an offensive coordinator call a play back-to-back if it works well the first time. Unfortunately for Geno Smith, it didn't work quite as well. They didn't bite on that little underneath play fake.
And he took a pretty good hit from the defense.
And you see him over there talking to him. You got to wonder, too, if that was a read option type of play where he has the option to either hand it off or keep it. Maybe he should have handed it off there.
Well, Kozlowski will do the kicking. That's Ashton Hall standing at his own 10-yard line. He's going to run up but hope this one goes into the end. He's down at about the 14-yard line. First time these two teams had met since 1915. Underdog Thundering Herd gave the Mountaineers all they could handle. Bernard Morris passed for 256 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hit receiver Darius Passmore 5 times for 76. And freshman Darius Marshall was the Herd's leading rusher. He had 80 yards on 11 carries. So number 5 all the way back then, making noise in 2007. But Pat White, 125 yards and a touchdown right there. Steve Slayton, 24 carries. Number 10 gets it in the end zone. He scored twice. And despite a valiant first half effort, Marshall lost that game, and another loss in this series. Down at the 11-yard line, Glover is there. Slate made the catch, but he's going to lose yards on the play. Miller applied some pressure up the middle that time on Anderson, and you touched on it, Danny. They have been more effective in the second half in at least hurrying the quarterback.
They really have. Every time you're seeing Brian Anderson throw the football, he's either getting pressure or he's having to manipulate the way he throws the football. And that's making his job a lot tougher.
2nd down and 13. The ball at the 11, just outside their own 10-yard line. Down he goes at the 9. Drilled on that play by Chris Neal. And I think you're seeing Neal make more tackles and be in on more plays than normal this afternoon.
Definitely. And, you know, we talked a lot about Marshall's defense in the first half. Well, the second half has been all about West Virginia's defense. And you see there, Chris Neal, he's the center. He's the point of that 3-3 stack defense. And when you see things starting to go well when they're corralling and Darius Marshall doesn't have anywhere to run, he's probably the reason that's happening, because he's occupying 2, maybe sometimes even 3 offensive linemen.
The Herd shifting 3 receivers to the right side, the near side of the field on 3rd down. Anderson with a lot of time. He bought some time himself. The ball is deflected and it's incomplete. Walker was the intended receiver. And there's Chris Neal. He is doing a yeoman's job in the middle of that defensive line.
And watch the effort he gives here. He recognizes it's a pass, keeps after the quarterback, a little spin move.
He's pretty agile.
Actually does get a hand on there. I mean, he's 6'2", 298 pounds. I like the spin move there, though.
Well, I'll tell you what, sometimes, you know, as a quarterback, hurries are about as effective as sacks.
Absolutely, every time. Anytime your throw is affected, it's going to change the outcome of the pass.
Whitehead will kick it to Sanders and Hogan. It'll be Jock Sanders. Making the catch, the fair catch, at about the 48-yard line, and that's where West Virginia, with 8:16 to play in the game, will have it. Well, Chris Neal has been a big part of an improved defense for West Virginia in the second half as they have opened up a 17-7 lead. Here we go, 17-7. West Virginia has done all the scoring here in the second half. Remember, Marshall's only touchdown came on their first possession, aided by a face mask call against the Mountaineers on a punt.
You know, it's not to say they weren't able to move the ball. That's what's got to be frustrating for Coach Snyder and Coach Shannon, the offensive coordinator for Marshall, because they were able to move the football. They just couldn't capitalize. Once they got it down there, they couldn't punch it in the end zone.
100 more yards on the ground in the second half for the Mountaineers. They've got good field position at their own 48 as they start this drive. 1st and 10. Smith sets, looks, dumps it out to Noel Devine. And Devine gets away from the first tackler down the sidelines, finally run out of bounds. He is so slippery, and he was finally pushed out by Brown. Omar Brown forced him out, but that little move freed him for about an extra 10 yards.
He is tough to bring down. You can see why they emphasize so much the importance of tackling him. Defensive coordinator Rick Minter actually came up with a word I've never heard before, spinability, when he was talking about West Virginia's playmakers. They all have it.
Well, he was able to spin away from a good defender, Ashton Hall, number 20 that time, to set up a first down. 7:41 remaining. Clock resumes its roll. A little dancing here, but that's not going to help Noel Devine, as Hall got a little revenge for being deked on the last play.
He definitely did. I think he made sure he kept his eyes focused on the middle of his shoulder pads and had him down before he gave him a chance to give him one of those spin moves.
Well, he's recovered a fumble for a touchdown. He has an interception this year. He's one of the leading tacklers. He plays all over the field. Number 20, Ashton Hall. 2nd and 10. Smith looks left, throws right. Nothing there. And a quick hit applied to Starks. And once again, Hall was right there. I see he's all over the field. Left side, right side, doesn't matter.
I mean, he's obviously a spectacular athlete with his vertical leap and his playmaking abilities. Back there returning punts as well. But watch the pursuit of the football. I mean, he just knows exactly, recognizes the screen coming, jumps the route, able to make the big hit.
3rd down and 11. 6.5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. All 14 points in the second half scored by West Virginia, under the leadership of a true freshman. Smith with time. Throws, catch made at the 22-yard line. That is Arnett again, who had that big touchdown play, the 33-yard strike, and he's going to have a first down here.
Advantage you have when you run a bunch of 9 routes, when you run past people, you're going to create a cushion so that you can make these type of 10 to 12-yard out routes. And that's all this was. He got some space. The defender's got to respect the deep route because he's already run by you once, which creates just enough room for you to complete that completion.
Made the catch in front of Bembry for the first down at the 22-yard line. I'll call it the 21. Noel Devine trips a little bit. He still gets enough to get inside the 20, down to about the 18-yard line. Shakur ran him out of bounds.
Boy, that trip might have been just enough to keep him from going to the end zone, because he definitely had a little crease there that normally I think he would make if he goes untouched. But just that little trip up was enough to hold him back where they could catch up with him.
He tried to tackle himself there momentarily, which he found out is not easy to do. 5:20. Clock rolling. Fourth quarter. 2nd down, 7. Mountaineers have taken charge of this football game in the second half. Devine, 15. Pushes his way to about the 12 before he's run down. We're in Morgantown, West Virginia on a nippy fall afternoon. Milan Pushkar Stadium. Mountaineer Field, celebrating 30 years of football. It's another first down for West Virginia as the Mountaineers continue to work it toward the goal line. Along with Danny Cannell, I'm John Sanders. A big thank you to our Big East Network crew.
And you can see the front seven of West Virginia, their offensive line and their tight ends are doing a good job of taking control of the line of scrimmage in the fourth quarter.
Here's Devine. Down he goes at the 9-yard line. It was an excellent tackle that time by Brown. Got him down low and got him to the ground.
And watch Noel Devine here when he gets the football. Watch this little bunny hop move he makes right there. And yet he's still, most people, you would think that's a cutback move, but he actually does that little hop and continues the direction he was going. That takes incredible balance.
Well, he got away from Perry, but he could not get away from Brown, who put him down after a gain of 1.
I just pulled a muscle thinking about that, that move he just did.
You don't have those tap dance moves?
No.
Smith sets, looks, throws, end zone, in the air, incomplete. That was Tyler Urban, the tight end. Brown was back on the coverage.
Boy, he had a chance there with the corner route to his tight end. Just a hair late with the throw. I know it's tough. He's been his first playing experience here. If he could have laid it out a little bit earlier, he might have had a chance in the back of the end zone, but gave the defense a chance to catch up to the throw.
And you saw a number 15 with the name White on the back, and yes, that is the younger White. That's Coley White, who's not played this year, redshirt freshman. And Pat was so great for all those years for West Virginia, leading them to 4 straight bowl victories. Cut back by Devine, touchdown. Oh, he turned sharply and got into the end zone. Noel Devine takes it in. He doesn't need much room.
Not only is he fast, but watch the vision to see the hole. Look at the size of that lane right there that he can cut it up through. And he has the type of speed to take advantage of those holes. Once he sees them, it's almost unstoppable because you give him that much room to run to, he's going to hit it every time.
Devine gets it into the end zone. Third touchdown here in the second half for the Mountaineers, and they have assumed control of this football game. Bittencourt for the PAT. Puts it through. 24-7. Remember, at one point in this afternoon, it was 7-0 Marshall. But there's a beautiful cut, huh?
Oh, man. He's really impressed me with his ability to elude tacklers, to use his speed, and his vision as well. To recognize that cutback lane and to see that hole and take advantage of it. He is a special type player. Just mentioned the fact that at halftime it was 7-3. Marshall was winning, and I think everybody that we talked to has recognized that Marshall, even though they've lost the 8th of these games, that they're closing the gap and they're getting there. They're improving, and the rivalry is becoming more intense.
Well, as you saw on the screen, over 100 yards rushing now for Noel Devine, most of it coming in the second half when the Mountaineers began to dominate the football game. But it was all triggered by their defense because, remember, Marshall had the first possession of the second half, and the Mountaineers have stuffed them.
Well, they definitely came up, stepped up their intensity level. They were able to contain Darius Marshall, shut his running game down, and knock Brian Anderson on his butt quite a few times in the second half. And that's going to affect you. I don't care how good a quarterback you are. The more times you get hit, it's going to affect your passing game.
Wilson and Marshall back deep to receive, and you saw on the one shot that the rain continues to fall here in Morgantown. Again, the low kick will bounce to about the 16-yard line. Picked up there by Marshall. They get back to around the 30. That's where Marshall will put the football in play. When your tailback is so good and his name Marshall, you call the name of the school a lot more than any normal game.
And he does get his name called quite a bit. But you got to credit West Virginia for making some adjustments at halftime and really shutting him down throughout the second half.
And again, you mentioned the pressure that they put on Anderson has also helped. And the smile on the face of Coach Stewart.
Well, I think he knows how close this game was.
Well,
coming out at halftime, he knew how they were in danger of the streak being broken.
And they didn't get that field goal until late in the first half. The throw is too tall for everybody. It is incomplete. Sands was there defensively. Again, Slate was the intended receiver. They look for him on almost every pass play.
He does. You can tell they have a great rapport with each other. They know they kind of have that unspoken feel for where they're going to be on the field, and you just got to be careful. I mentioned it earlier. When it's your favorite receiver, you got to make sure he's open before you throw it to him, because that defense knows that he's your favorite guy.
2nd and 10 after the incomplete pass. Anderson this time short, and the flag comes down. It'll be enough yardage for a first down as they go to the other tight end, Lee Smith. But that flag is back inside the 30-yard line. And our official crew will sort it out.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. 79 offense. Half the distance to the goal.
That is Baldridge, who's called for the penalty, and the head coach can't believe it.
Well, there he is. He's pulling out, trying to pick up a wide receiver. He's coming into your screen.
Yeah, but the flag had already been thrown.
Yeah.
The flag was thrown early.
I think you saw why Coach Snyder had such a dumbfounded look on his face, wondering what the call was about.
Yeah, because it was really away from where the runner was.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It sets him back to the 15-yard line. He's still 2nd down, but it's 25 yards to go instead of a first down. Here comes the pressure outside. Anderson throws behind the intended receiver, Bonner.
And once again, unblocked blitzer coming in his face. Had to get rid of it. Had to throw it somewhere.
That was Goldborn who got in there. And there again, we talked about the difference between the first half and the second half in putting the pressure on number 12.
Here you see, just coming right off the edge. Goldborn doesn't hit him, doesn't look like a lot, but he's got to throw the football somewhere. It throws off the timing of their routes.
They call those hurries.
Yep. And they definitely affect the quarterback's play.
3rd and 25. Just over 3 minutes left here in the fourth quarter. Here comes another blitz from the outside. Anderson buys some time, throws it up for grabs down the middle, and it's going to be grabbed by Mountaineers. That is the 3rd pick of the season for Robert Sands. Again, Chris Neal applied the pressure, number 90 up the middle. He tried to buy some time by getting outside, and he really throws this one up for grabs.
Yeah, he does, and once again, you saw him get hit again. And that takes its toll on a quarterback, but you see here, 3 Mountaineers around the football. Once again, he's throwing to Cody Slate, trying to find his guy, but West Virginia figured that out, said, hey, we're going to make sure he's accounted for.
Exactly 3 minutes left, and West Virginia has assumed control of this football game in the second half. Just a couple of yards there on the carry. Not much at all as they go to Rogers now out of the tailback spot. And Coley White has checked into the lineup.
Well, I think they realize the importance of getting him some playing time. And not only that, they probably want to get him in front of his brother. Let his brother see him play a little bit.
Pat is here in the house.
Yep.
And Coley White, number 15. He is a redshirt freshman. And that one is busted before it begins. Again, you're from South Florida. You've seen Pat White play.
5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Yep, Pat White has been a great addition for the Miami Dolphins, running the Wildcat for them. He's made a couple big plays for them already this year, and I know they have big plans to use him throughout the season.
I can't believe it either, Coach.
There's Coach Stewart, rather frustrated with the false start penalty.
You know, he's dressed like it's about 75 degrees out here.
I know. In the first half, I know why he was warm. He had so much steam rising in him.
Absolutely.
The second half, I would think he'd be cool and calm with this lead.
Loose football, and they fall on the 40-yard line. That, of course, was Coley White again. And you've been sitting as long as he has.
You know his hands are cold.
Absolutely.
He's trying to get him warmed up in there.
They'll restart the clock with 1 minute and 43 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
It'll be interesting to see if they let him go to the air with the football. I'd be pretty surprised, but let him get a completion under his belt. He's doing a good job of milking the clock, taking the play clock down to the very last second.
It's inside 10. He knows it. Now he takes the snap. And they busted up the middle.
Well, you can see he has the bloodlines, right? He's showing some quickness of his own right there.
He wasn't afraid to take it up north and south.
And he almost picked up the first down.
Now, Brown finally made the tackle, number 31 for Marshall. And they sandwiched him, just like they did Jared Brown.
At the end of that run.
You're right, he did. And some of the faithful headed for the freeways, but not everybody. And West Virginia moving ever closer to a victory in the Friends of Coal Bowl and making it 9 wins in a row against the Thundering Herd. Coach Stewart's team going to improve their record to 5-1. They'll go back to Big East play next week right here against UConn.
Well, Coach Stewart, he's got to be thrilled with the way his team responded at halftime. They had some adversity in the first half. They're losing to a team that they're heavily favored against. And to be able to come back and to turn that switch on.
Well, it is back to Big East action for Coach Stewart and the Mountaineers. We mentioned next week. UConn will be here. Here are the standings. The Panthers of Pitt off to a 3-0 start. They were the favorite coming into the regular season.
Dave Wanstead's got his crew playing pretty solid football up there.
It was a big win for them to get on the road at Rutgers.
It's a great matchup the other night between Cincinnati and South Florida. Provided a lot of entertainment.
Cincinnati is for real, even though they lost their quarterback, and that may not make a lot of difference. And no place for White to go that time. He is wrapped up by Harris. So it'll turn the ball over to the Thundering Herd with just over 31 seconds left in this football game. Very impressive second half of football for West Virginia.
You got to credit both teams. Marshall came out here ready to play, looking to gain some respect within the rivalry, put up a great half of football. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to sustain through the second half. And I think a lot of that has to do with West Virginia just has so much talent and depth on their team that, Marshall just, towards the end of the game, they just couldn't keep up.
Coach Snyder, a Marshall grad. Coach Stewart actually came to West Virginia, wound up playing football at Fairmont State, and the loose ball is on the turf again.
They're giving their backup quarterback a little playing time. Mop-up duty as well. Number 13, Press Taylor, getting to take a snap.
Press Taylor, a junior college transfer, and a couple of junior college championships. And the Mountaineer fans are going to celebrate a victory. So the Friends of Coal Bowl remains in the hands of the Mountaineers. A strong second half performance despite the drizzle and the chill in the northern part of West Virginia. There are the two coaches getting together. And I've never heard Coach Stewart say a bad word about anybody.
He really hasn't. He was a pleasure to talk to on the phone. Got a great personality. Really looking to do great things for this West Virginia program.
Handshakes all around. The Friends of Coal Bowl for 2009 is in the book. And I guess if you're a Thundering Herd fan, Danny, you got to say, well, what do we have to do to beat West Virginia? Because it hasn't happened ever.
And they've been close, too. They've played great halves, and they've been in the game late, but they just unfortunately can't come out on top. But I think there is a clear, they're closing the gap.
Well, they were in control of the football game early on. West Virginia was making some mistakes in the terms of penalties that helped set up the first touchdown. But when all was said and done, it was the Mountaineers who took charge in the second half. They got Devine going.
I think you got to remember, too, about West Virginia losing their quarterback, Jared Brown, had taken its toll on them emotionally in the first half. I think that's some of the reason why they came out a little flat and weren't able to do as much offensively. And then it kind of carries over to the defense as well, because they recognize what's going on.
Well, you talked about it, Danny, and Danny Cannell joining me here. The emotion certainly favored Marshall in the first half, but somehow that switched sides in the second half.
Well, you got to credit Coach Stewart and some of the leaders. You know, the seniors on West Virginia's team probably were in there at halftime saying, look, guys, we're losing, and we're to a team we're heavily favored against. Let's make sure we take care of things. And they definitely came out. They picked up their intensity level, and were able to assure up the victory here in the second half.
There were some key moments for the Mountaineers, especially in the second half, when their defense, first of all, made some big stops, get the football back, and the snaps from center were not terrible, but here in the second half, it certainly hurt Marshall to the tune of 30 yards, and that defense really picked it up. Sowers there. Another loose ball.
And you look at those miscues, just those little snaps, those cost them 30 yards. That fumble there, they were in field goal range. They could have got a field goal there. It's just all those type of little things. And then, of course, you get hit with a big play.
Great pass that time from Smith to Arnett, and he is their deep guy, their big play guy, and he proved it again this afternoon. So I think the faithful have got to be fairly happy, although I'm sure they were all grumbling at halftime.
I'm sure they were. They were as frustrated as anybody, but I think there's a lot of good takeaways for West Virginia to take out of this game. They were able to get through the game with a victory.
All right, let's take a look at the coach now and talk about what happened here this afternoon, because the Mountaineers had to battle their way back in the second half. Coach, what was the turning point? What'd you do at halftime to get them going?
Well, we just talked about staying with our game plan. I mean, our defense kept us in the game. Offensively, we were not sharp. We lost Jarrett. I think that rattled us a little. But, you know, the young guys come in, played well, and got the ball to number 7. We got to get the ball to Noel Devine.
Coach, talk about Geno Smith and about his play. He really looked like he found his comfort zone in the second half. Talk about his play.
Well, I felt like I know he can pass the ball, pitch and catch. He's really, really good. He's a student of the game. What he really did that hurt Marshall was he kept pulling in the reads and running the ball. And someone might say, well, you know, you shouldn't run the guy. Hey, we have to win a football game. And this young man stepped up and did a great, great job.
I tell you what, the pass that he threw to Arnett was a thing of beauty. I mean, you can't put it any better than he did. The coverage was great. The ball was right there for a touchdown, and it was a big play.
You're absolutely right. I thought he hit our tight end, Tyler Urban, at the end also right there in the hole. So he really did well today. But I was really proud of our football team. I told the offensive staff, stay aggressive, and let's go win the ball game. And our defense kept us in it, and that was good. Coach, the special teams did well.
Coach, you just mentioned your defense. They came out with a whole new intensity level the second half. Really were able to shut down Marshall and get more pressure on the quarterback. Talk about their play in the second half.
I thought very much so that we were into it mentally, and we were just a hand here or not, just almost a pick there, but we really stayed with our plan. We pressured them a little bit, and then that really got them flushed a little, and then picks came, and it just turned the game around for us.
Coach, thank you very much. Get in that locker room, get dried off, get warmed up.
Oh, this is a great cold. This is a great night to be a Mountaineer, and this is like sunshine down here.
We're going to go to break. We'll be talking to some other